Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Yachts here, and it's Monday morning, and we're doing a Monday moment, and the moment is today. The moment is to go and vote. Today is the federal election for Canada, and I encourage everyone to get out there and vote, and vote smart. Vote for your country. Vote for Canada staying the true north, strong, and free, and that means voting for people that are not going to work with Donald Trump, not going to want to change our country into being the United States. And there's really only one clear choice between two of the top choices that will do that. One person will very much sell us out, and we need to all know that. And well, today I'm highlighting this partly because I really am proud of the very new WNBA franchise, the Toronto Tempo, here in Toronto. Don't have any players, don't have a coach yet, but they are already trying to have an influence on young people, young women, and people from all walks of life to get out there and get to the ballot box and vote today here in Canada. We've had unprecedented early voting turnout here in Canada for our election already, and that's a good sign. We want people to come and vote as much as possible because the more people you get to vote, the more percentage of your population that votes, the more it's a democracy. When people sit out and they don't vote because they're apathetic or they do that's horrible because the true democracy is not represented. I get it. Some of y'all are apathetic. They've done mind games to people to make them feel like, oh, my vote won't count anyway. Well, you lost if you think that. If you're staying home today because you think your vote won't count, well, the idiots that hate you have won. Basically like that. They brainwashed you into thinking that your vote won't count. Well, it does. That's the craziest thing. That's why they want to brainwash you into thinking that, oh, it doesn't matter who I vote for. They're all the same anyway. Well, they win when you stay home and you don't vote. So let's not be apathetic. Let's not sit on the sidelines. The Toronto Tempo very much railing against apathy on voting in this election. You know, Teresa Resch, Kilmer Group, they got a vested interest in this. Now think about, why aren't the Raptors pushing voting more like the Toronto Tempo? Well, in some ways, that's never been really their kind of thing. In some ways, maybe there's rules in the NBA about pushing too much with the elections. I know the NBA has opened up their arenas to allow for polling place to help more people vote, which is fantastic. Access to voting and more people having a chance to vote is, once again, democracy, true democracy. So it's important, guys. I appreciate everybody who's already gone out and voted already. But if you have not, you need to go right now. Just go right now. Tell your boss, look, it's voting day. I need to go vote. And your boss legally shouldn't be able to say, yeah, I can't do anything about it. No, you should be able to leave your job if you need to go vote, especially if they put it on a day like a Monday when it's a work day. You know, that's bullshit right there. I mean, that it's great that they have early voting over the weekend, but they should be doing the main voting day on a day where everybody is off and they're able to go and vote. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's an important thing. And I appreciate Teresa Resch and the Toronto Tempo for making it a big deal right now all over their social media. In fact, they've got something this morning. Let's do the Instagram stories right now, right off the bat. Toronto Tempo, first of all, has a statement on the tragedy in Vancouver this weekend. We are heartbroken by the tragic events that occurred at the Lapu Lapu Day celebration in Vancouver last night. Our hearts are with the victims, their families, and everyone impacted, including Vancouver's Filipino community. We extend our deepest condolences and support to the Filipino Canadian community and everyone in Vancouver during this incredibly difficult time. A 24-hour assistance center has been established at the Douglas Park Community Center at 801 West 22nd Street. Vancouver police officers and victim services professionals have been deployed to help anyone who has not been able to contact a loved one who was at the Lapu Lapu. This is awful, horrible. The more we hear about these, this incident, the more it sounds crazy and sad. You know, they had closed the road off, and they were just reopening the road to allow people to come in and start taking down music stage and clean up a little bit. And some guy just drove right on into there and just went crazy. And that's really sad and tragic. I don't know much about the driver or what their motives were or why they did this, but the police have said that the 30-year-old man was known to them for causing incidents and already was very well known to police, having to deal with his mental health issues already. So he was someone who was known. Yeah, today is voting day. And Toronto Tempo is all about it. Don't sit on the sidelines, vote. And you got to wonder why is the Tempo so big on this? Are the other WNBA teams? No, they're not in Canada, so they don't have an election to push. But Tempo are. And part of it is this. I'm going to say this straight up. This world is making a very decidedly dark turn in the United States right now, trying to go back in time. Like if the people that are in charge, Donald Trump and them, want to take the country back to the 1940s, like before the civil rights movement, before like women's rights, before any kind of rights, where it's just like white men have rights. And well, in some ways, it's important the gains and diversity and different things that we've gotten to with equality to safeguard them and to stay steadfast in defense of them and the reign of bullshit from people that are basically from the past that are idiot old racists, really, that are like, that was not a good time. That you want to progress back? No, progress forward. And progressiveness and progressive conservatives is progressing into the future and making things better for all people. But there's certain people that want to progress to a certain time where less people have less rights and less equality. Well, the WNBA in some ways represents equality because it's a women's league and it's building up. And over the years, it's gotten more and more popular to the point where it is right now, where it's very popular and it's earning money. And in some ways, we can't afford to have this kind of energy that's in the White House right now up here in Canada, because in some ways, diversity, DEI, and equality and stuff like that, and getting the rich people to pay their fair share of taxes is all on the docket right now. So yeah, the vested interest of the Toronto Tempo is in this election for sure. Because in some ways, there's some people in this world right now, the right wing politicians around this world, that want to drag people back into a less equal time, a much darker time, honestly. Everybody, these people that have these crazy ideas that, the 1950s and this was such a great time and stuff like that. Bullshit. There was a lot of fucked up shit happening behind the scenes that doesn't get talked about. And some people, maybe it was such a nice time for some people, but it wasn't for a lot of people. Let's just put it that way. And in some ways, we can't afford this kind of shit to drag regress instead of progress. Because progress is important. It's very, very important. Some people are trying to use the argument that we're worse off after years and years of liberal leadership. And that's why people shouldn't vote for the liberals, because we're worse off. This is like one of their main arguing points. This is not why we're worse off. We're not worse off in Canada than the United States. Let's just put it that way. They're worse off down there. And part of it is because of 2 administrations of Donald Trump, putting them trillions in debt and squandering the great economy that Joe Biden built for him for 4 years in less than 2 months. Really, seriously. You want to find people to blame for your life being more expensive. You need to talk to the corporations, people, and stop looking at what the Liberal Party did this to you. No, motherfuckers. It's big, huge corporations price gouging you and being very uncouth and wrong in overcharging us for stuff that we paid way less for just a few years ago. So if you really want to start getting angry, you got to start getting angry at the companies and the people that allow the companies to do this. And we need more regulation and price gouging on the grocery stores. We need more help with the housing market and making sure that the prices aren't going crazy up because of bullshit. And I'm saying this over and over again. There's one side that will protect consumers and everyday people, and one side that will enrich the very rich that want to game the system for their own gain. And if people can't understand which side is which, you're an idiot if you can't figure that out. Because obviously, the PC want to help rich people get richer and avoid more taxes. And the liberals, in some ways, well, Justin Trudeau was going after Loblaws and Galen Weston. They were doing things to try and help with that kind of stuff. So I don't get it. Why people blame the liberals for worse off in the last 8 years. The worse off is because of corporate greed. The worse off is because of just bullshit, like coming from the States and bullshit happening. Because in some ways, the waves of the States and their trade war and their bullshit, it affects all of us. And I don't understand why all right, you can get mad at Justin for civil liberties and the pandemic and the vaccine. That is valid. In some ways, I will listen to that argument and say, okay, that's why you're mad at Justin. Okay, I get it. You have personal stance against taking the vaccine. and against the mandates and shit like that. I can get behind that, but that shit is over and done with. Get over it. If you didn't take the vaccine, good for you. I'm not mad at you. I live downtown. I needed to take it because I was around a lot of people, and it was smart for me to take it. If you lived out in the country and you didn't have to take it and you're anti-vax, that's fine. So be it. Good job. You made it. You're fine. If you lost your job because you were anti-vax, well, you may have worked somewhere where it was important for you to get vaccinated. I'm just saying, people are going to try and blame different people for different things right now. Well, you know what? We're only in the now right now. And there's one thing that matters the most to me in the now right now. And that's that big dummy in the White House down there and not allowing us to somehow, some way become an American part of America. Fuck that. So seriously, some people say, oh, Canadians are voting because they're fearful. You're damn right. Damn right we're voting because we want to stay Canada and we do not want to be the United States. And I don't see that as being, is that a facetious, stupid ass reason to vote? No, that is not. That may be one of the most important reasons to vote. So anybody in the media gaslighting say, oh, the Canadians are only voting because of they're scared. They're scared. You damn right. And we want to stay Canada. And if a power we have right now is to vote, we're going to damn for sure do it. Damn for sure do it. Once again, I will say to everyone, if you've been reading media in the last few days and it doesn't come from CBC, it's coming from the United States, and you should not trust a single damn word of what they're saying, whether the way they're trying to shape how you look at Carney or Poilievre or Jagmeet or whoever, whether they're trying to shape, this is the motives of why they're voting. Yahoo front page, don't fucking look at that shit. Nah, don't look at any News Corp sources. Don't look at any bullshit where Elon might be paying a media company to put out propaganda just like Vladimir would do in Ukraine to fuck with their elections. I'm telling you, the playbook of Russia is being utilized by the United States right now, and there's election interference, and y'all need to keep your head clear and straight on thinking about what is important about this and making sure you make your decision free and clear of any kind of influence from American corporation media, because they are trying to fuck with you right now. I'm telling you right now. So sort it out in your head. It's even to the point where Doug Ford don't even want to support Poilievre because he sees that Poilievre is going to get his ass handed to him today, and Doug Ford is going to get to be the PC leader next for the whole nation. That sucks because he's an idiot and he's a con artist and a criminal too. But in some ways, he's at least one we know. And at least we also know there's a limit to his IQ in some ways also. He's a dumb man. So we'll just have to see what happens. In some ways, the PC ain't supporting him because he sees a sinking ship, and they're all licking their lips about being the next PC leader. And they're like, yeah, get rid of him. I would like to step in his place and be the next one for the next election cycle. So that's where we're at. So, yeah, the bottom line here is from me, man, vote. And I tell you right now, if you were going to vote for Pierre, go ahead and stay home then. That's what I'll say to those people. Y'all can stay home if you're dumb enough to fall for the bullshit and think that you need to vote for Poilievre today. Seriously. All right, there's my spiel about election day. In some ways, I don't like to lead with politics, but today is the federal election. And it is a very, very important day in the Canadian history. And hopefully the results will show that Canadians are proud and patriotic for the country and staying true north, strong, and free away from any kind of 51st state bullshit. Is what I got to say about that. All right, let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. We're going to talk about the playoffs. I got the ref report. I got the straight goods on Canadian goods. And I've also got the Instagram stories. Well, I just did them. Actually, I'm doing them right now. Let's keep going. Let's see. We got Jamal Shed. He's playing basketball. We were on the rim this weekend. Okay, there's somebody up on the rim this weekend. Jamal Shed watching kids play basketball. Not sure exactly where. Toronto Tempo president Teresa Resch is proud of the Toronto Raptors, their first season in the Professional Women's Hockey League here in Canada. Well, they have clinched a playoff spot as of this weekend. So Toronto Raptors are going to be in the playoffs for the PWHL. Right, that's what's coming up there. And they're also showing AFC Toronto highlights on Toronto's Toronto Tempo president Teresa Resch's account, showing love for the hockey and soccer teams, the sister teams to theirs. We got Racemo Daily showing that the NBA commentator was calling somebody Pinoy Steph. So a little Filipino pride here. Edmund, you're funny. You're a funny guy. That was Shearman. SGA is saying happy birthday to Kevin Kangu. Happy birthday for life. He's not the only one. Emmanuel Quigley also saying happy birthday to Kevin Kangu. These are guys that I guess they're all from Kentucky. These are Kentucky players showing love for each other on Kevin Kangu's birthday. So IQ and SGA showing love for Kevin right there. Lloyd is showing the CN Tower. So the entourage has arrived back to Canada. So Lloyd, what about Lloyd arriving back in Toronto yesterday? So that means Scotty and Jonathan are back and probably back in Toronto also. So good to see our world travelers are back. It was more confirmed that the full entourage was in Thailand and the Philippines recently. Nick was there also, Scotty's manager and handler, along with Jay Simpson, also with Lloyd and Nardo. And the whole crew was there. So Scotty, Jonathan, the whole entourage was in effect. And I did see that clip of them shooting around in Philippines. And it was funny because it was Lloyd out there shooting with Scott. And Lloyd does have a pretty good outside shot. I have to say that. Lloyd can bomb some threes. But yeah, it was fun to see Lloyd out there goofing around with Scotty. And there were the guys who were at the court, the Filipino guys were like, whoa, they were in awe of seeing Scotty Barnes, a former NBA Rookie of the Year, on the court playing with them in pickup basketball this weekend in overseas. Fantastic stuff. But Lloyd is showing that they're back as he shows the CN Tower and the Sky Dome there. What about Lloyd? There you go. Jonathan Mobo showing the pictures of Nardo. No, that's Nick actually going down the stairs. You don't see much of Nick. Nick is Scotty's handler who's been helping him with his career a lot since he's been in the NBA. Really, really good stuff. We got Bruno Fernando's showing a picture of him with Kevin Huerter. Of course, they were teammates on the Atlanta Hawks for quite a while, and they're good buddies. But yeah, it's cool to see Bruno Fernando saying something. What Mama don't know won't hurt her. That's what it says. What is that? That's a weird thing. What Mama don't know won't hurt her, and it's like Herder's name. That's a little weird, Bruno. That's a little weird. Norman Powell's got the understand the grind gear going in playoff mode right now. That's right. MLSC and through the Raptors 905 and the Toronto Raptors have put out a statement about the tragedy in Vancouver. On behalf of MLSC and its teams, we are deeply saddened by the tragedy that occurred last night at the Lapu Lapu Day celebration in Vancouver. We join in grieving with the Filipino-Canadian community and extend our deepest condolences and support to the city and all of those impacted. Yeah. Shamshay is putting Malawatch on blast, y'all. And one of y'all was talking about in the Discord server last night that Shamshay and Malawatch have been playing together in an African team already in the past. And that Common plays 5 and Ulrich plays 4, and he's perfectly fine with that matchup. I'm telling you, man, it's looking more and more like this. You get this visa thing fixed with whatever bullshit coming from the White House with Common Malach. And, well, let's just see if we can get that Cameroon, that African connection. I don't think Common's from Cameroon, but let's get some African Twin Towers going with Shamshay and Malawatch coming up. Masai Ujiri. Let's go. Let's do it. Slim Duck has posted this, a strong prayer. Kept Chris Boucher saying, Dear God, thank you for granting me a new day. Please forgive my mistakes and calm my mind. Keep me safe today and fill my heart with peace. May this day bring new joy and opportunities. God, I love you. And I promise to share this prayer. Amen. There you go. Chris has got a good head on his shoulders. He's had a tumultuous bit of time, but you know what? He's seeing free and clear and clearly sees the what's in front of him, and he's going to do what he has to do, and he's going to be fine because God's looking out for him. There you go. There's your Instagram stories. I love to see that kind of statement from Chris Boucher on his Instagram stories. Believing in the faith in the Lord is going to get everything all right. That's right. That's right. Trevor J's words of wisdom this morning is be thankful every chance you get. Because life has been easy, perfect, or exactly as you had anticipated. But because you choose to be happy and grateful for all the good things you do have and all the problems you don't have, today you are blessed. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's something that grounds Chris. He understands his lot in life is very, very blessed and bountiful. And most of us are too. A lot of us are. You know, there are a lot of people that are in need and do really need a help. But fortunately, a lot of us are people that are okay and we're making it. If we're not, well, look for people to help you out. There should be services and people that help people that are downtrodden and in rough places. And if you have a lot like Trevor does, well, you could be like Trevor and give back. That's what I would say there. Thank you for your words of wisdom, Commissioner Trevor J. Always a great role model and leader in the Raptors fan nation. That's right. Trevor's saying Timberwolves are up 3-1 over the Lakers. Yeah. Who called this shit? Who called this shit? This guy. He called it right when they made the trade for Luka Doncic to the Lakers. I said, okay, you guys ain't getting nowhere in the playoffs now because you ain't got no defense. You got two guys that play the similar position, and you don't have a diversification or depth of your bench anymore. Yeah, you're sunk. You're sunk. And they're already hitting it in the first round. And they're trying to help them. They try and prop them up, but it doesn't matter. You can't have just two all-time great superstars, no team behind them with no size and defense, and try and beat a team that's got different pieces, role players, and different pieces as a more well-rounded team down to 10. Yeah, they got Rudy Gobert. That's a defensive piece right there. There ain't no Anthony Davis around no more to be a defensive piece for the Lakers. And, well, the headline I see on ESPN this morning says, Ant-Man whizzes by the tired Lakers. That's so sad. Yeah, it's like, is J.J. Redick a whiz kid coach? No. He's just like all the other Laker coaches before him, losing out. Is this just like the story that's been told in the Lakers since LeBron's been there, except for a stupid-ass bubble setup? That, yeah, they're going to go out either in the play-in, not make the playoffs, or lose in the first round. That's just been LeBron on the Lakers. Really has been most of the time. There's been one aberration, and it was a really weird one that had to do with a pandemic and some bullshit. But other than that, every single time has been a failure with LeBron in a Lakers jersey when it's been around the playoffs. And this year is just showing it once again. Now, is it going to be some sort of weird shit, Adam Silver, where you're going to let the Lakers try and come back and get to a game 7 to have some drama in the first round? I hope Chris Finch shuts that shit down very next game, and that the team game of the Timberwolves overcomes y'all and puts y'all's out in 5 games. I really do hope that, because I can see some convoluted bullshit. Thank God Scott Foster is out right now with a leg injury and cannot ref these playoffs. The extender is not available to extend series for the NBA right now because he's on the shelf on the injured list. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Is there an extender 2? Is Natalie Sago into extending? Is she even reffing in the playoffs right now? I don't even know. I don't see her name. So I'm wondering, is there going to be the extender 2 who's going to come around and help extend the series for the Lakers so they have a chance against the Timberwolves? 3-1 down. That's no good. They only need to win once. Y'all need to win 3 times. Yeah, go get it, Timberwolves. Good job. I'm proud of you guys. And yeah, you can call it whatever you want, ESPN. They're gassed. They're tired. Well, they don't have no depth. They got 2 superstars, and that's it. That don't win in this league no more. That may have won around 2009, 2010, but that shit don't win no more in the NBA in 2025. That's right. That's right. He's also saying that the Pacers are up 3-1 over the Bucks, and Damian Lillard got injured. It's the same foot he had the blood clots. Yeah, Achilles injuries. What I'm hearing this morning, it's sad. In some ways, I don't like this. I don't like this because Lillard's had some back and forth. In some ways, this sucks, man, because last year was a wash and a waste. His first year as a Buck, and you could tell that everybody's disappointed in everything that happened for the Bucks in their season last year. And this year, it looks like they have some sort of chance. But nah, he's going to be hurt around this time. Man, it's almost like there's forces out there, Dame Lillard, telling you, man, you're just not destined to do certain things in the NBA, my guy. Whether it's languishing on Portland for most of your career, finally getting free, and nothing going right for you in Milwaukee since. I guess Gary Trent Jr. is good insurance for the team of the Milwaukee Bucks because, man, you need to step up and be Dame Lillard Dame time now, Gary, because it don't look like he's coming back. And you might need to do more of what you've already been doing for them. Yeah, it sucks. It's tough. Go Siakam. Let's go, Pacers. Once again, this is what I'll say. The team that has a more complete team that's deeper with more good players is the Pacers. And they're up 3-1 also over the Bucks. Bucks got Antetokounmpo, Lillard. After that, man, slim pickings. Not a lot of role players like they used to have on their championship team, and people picking up the slack after Giannis Antetokounmpo. And that really, I mean, Gary Trent, hopefully on most nights, but you can't depend on Gary night in, night out for sure. He's going to have a dud game coming up again soon. You know he will. Trevor's saying, once again, the referees had to rob a team yesterday. It was the Pistons. didn't call the foul on Josh Hart. Yeah, there was a 3-point attempt by Tim Hardaway Jr. late in the game in the Pistons Knicks game. And it was a foul, and David Guthrie admitted it later on. This is so infuriating. I bet this is so infuriating for the Pistons fans right now. In some ways, they should have had an even series, 2-2, but the referees did a ref hit job on them. Literally, they did. They did. This is straight up a ref hit job and favoritism to the New York Knicks in the game yesterday. Totally missing that call. And then coming back into the media pool and doing the 2-minute report afterwards with the David Guthrie, you have the audacity to tell them we missed the call. It should have been a foul, and Hardaway Jr. should have went the line for 3 free throws. In a close-ass game like this, where the Pistons just barely lost by 2 points, that's fucked up, man. That's fucked up. And that totally smacks of the fingerprints of a ref hit job and helping a big market beat a team that was the worst team in the league last year and isn't the most attractive to go further. Well, you need to naturally let the Pistons beat the Knicks if they are better than them. Adam Silver. None of this bullshit. Just because you want to keep the media market of New York involved in the playoffs. If they're supposed to lose, they lose, is what I'm saying about this. And I predict this. I said some things like this. Detroit can handle New York because New York's been miscoached all season by Thibodeau running his players in the ground and not really having good bench depth. Once again, in some ways, the Pistons have a deeper bench and more guys to 10 than the Knicks do. And this is another factor. But in this series, it's 3-1 for the Knicks because the refs wanted that to happen for Adam Silver yesterday. And maybe, because that Lakers game was close too. Maybe they were like, Adam's like, I can't do 2 ref hit jobs for big markets on two on the same day. Y'all need to let this game in the Timberwolves game just go the way it's supposed to go at the end and do not try and help the Lakers win right at the end because it's very blatant that we helped the Knicks earlier. And people are calling us out for this shit. And, well, we got to let the Lakers got to swim on their own. Sorry, baby. You got a dog paddle in there. Now we're not holding you anymore at swim lessons. You got to swim on your own now, Lakers. Oh, you sunk? Oh, too bad. The little swimmer sunk because we didn't help them anymore. That's what I'm saying. It would have looked real bad if 2 out of the 4 games yesterday were determined by the referees in the favor of big markets like the New York and LA market. So I think that Adam Silver had to say, guys, we can't do another one today, guys. Sorry. So let it go. Let them just play the game normal, and whoever wins, wins. Timberwolves win. Yeah. You don't think they would have manipulated that game too, but it would have looked too fishy and fucked up and staged like WWE if they'd let the Lakers and the Knicks win yesterday by ref manipulation. That wouldn't have been going good, and a lot of people would have called it out and seen it right away. That's right. Trevor's saying that the Toronto Raptors are really trendsetters. We were the first team to have fans standing outside watching the playoffs. Now every other team is doing it. That was very organic how that happened. It really is. In some ways, the Raptors organization knew if you build it, they will come. And that is the screen on the outside of the building. I remember because I was one of the first people that went down there myself. I was one of the original Jurassic Park people that came down there way before they started setting it up officially. I'd stand in that street when they didn't have any barricades and just watch it with everybody. Didn't have tickets, but we wanted to be down there. We were people from downtown that wanted to be down there and be near the playoff atmosphere and be next to the building and cheering them on. And that's how it organically grew. It was not a corporate decision to say, we're going to build this thing called Jurassic Park. We're going to have this thing. It's going to be amazing. No, this was the fans that built this shit all on their own because we went down there on our own. It just naturally gravitated to it. And, well, they saw the opportunity. They started seeing, well, they're actually coming down there. We started making the playoffs more often, getting more playoff games, and just started building tradition. Well, the Leafs rip it off. Now they want to call it Maple Leaf Square. That's Jurassic Park, bitch. Other teams are doing it around the league now. And, well, Trevor, I don't know if we exactly started it. I don't know if you could say that. I could say maybe we started in the NBA, but there may have been other teams in different levels like college or something like that had something similar like that. So I don't know if we can say we exactly started it. But I would say we're the ones who did it first in the NBA. And then, probably by NHL too. That we got that going in the NHL too, because they do it in Winnipeg. They close down the street and have a street party at the whiteout for the Jets. They're doing it in Jurassic Park for the Leafs during the playoffs right now. I really do feel like in some ways we were trendsetters. The early people that went down there for Jurassic Park, standing out there, rain or snow or shine, and that MLSC just capitalized on it. So there's a whole bunch of people outside. How could we work this in certain ways? Well, we could close it off and ban them with tickets or something like that, or we could do this, we could do that. It's been a really successful trend that they set, and well, I'm proud to be one of the original Jurassic Park people that was down there right at the start. Right at the start, I was down there. I didn't go all the time afterwards, but I went most of the times when it was unofficial. And then when it started becoming more like with oh, you gotta get a band and like sign up and get there early, and it got too popular and it got too crazy, I was like, nah, I'd rather just stay home and watch it now. At that point, yeah. All right, let's see. We'll do the referees real quick right now. I've got the refs for the two games tonight and who they are favoring historically with their records with the two teams. So tonight, there's Cleveland at Miami, game number 4. James Williams is the crew chief. He favors the Miami Heat. Kevin Scott is the referee. He favors the Miami Heat, and the umpire is JB DeRosa. He favors the Miami Heat. So even though Cleveland's up 3-0, this is maybe a last gasp to try and help Eric Spoelstra and the Heat get one of these games in this series with James Williams, Kevin Scott, and JB DeRosa all solidly showing a higher winning percentage for the Miami Heat over the Cleveland Cavaliers. So it's favorable for Miami to win tonight to stop the sweep at home with the ref crew. But is that what's going to happen? Maybe not, because the Cavs are just that damn good. And they may just blow them out and kick their ass just like they did in the first game in Miami. So it could be a sweep tonight, although the settings are favorable for the Miami Heat, just so y'all know. The other game is the 4th game in the series between Houston and Golden State, and John Goebel of Miami will be the crew chief. He is favoring the Golden State Warriors historically. Bill Kennedy is the referee. He favors the Houston Rockets, and the umpire is Pat Frere, who also favors the Rockets. So 2 out of 3 are favoring the away team, the Rockets, and the crew chief is favoring the Warriors at home in game 4. And they're going to be trying to even up the series 2-2 tonight, which is at 2-1 for actually they're up 2-1, right? It's 2-1 for the Warriors, and the Rockets are down 1 right now, right? Isn't that right? Yeah, it's 1-2. So the Rockets are trying to even things up tonight, and the Warriors are trying to go 3-1 over them. So there's your ref report for tonight. We've got favorite for the Rockets and the Heat in their games tonight, just so y'all know. Smooth saying this. Yeah, today is the day. There you go. That's right. Toronto Tempo and myself are trying to tell y'all today is the day to get out and vote. Get it done. Get it done. If you didn't go already, I went on Good Friday. So I went like 10 days ago and voted already. If you did not early vote, well, today's the day. Get it done. Don't sideline. That's what we're saying today. Teresa and I are both telling y'all, don't sideline today. That's right. Fiercey is here. Good to see MJ holding it down for us over in the Montreal, Ottawa region. That's right. Let's see. Fiercey saying, good morning, fam, and happy Monday. Today is the day. That's right. Toronto Tempo are setting the tone to not only be a sports team, but an organization who gets involved in valuable and important matters. I like that. Don't you, MJ? I'm going to give you a dunk for that comment because I agree with you. They're very socially conscious organization already, just starting out. And I like that a lot. I like that a lot because in some ways, sports in some ways should be utilized for politics. Some people don't believe that, but they always have been. Jesse Owens, the NBA players in the early NBA, like we just had the history, the anniversary of the first ever black players in the NBA 75 years ago. This is all a civil rights movement and a political movement, and sports are moved by move politics, and they move change in society. And the people that say, oh, shut up and play to musicians and athletes are usually assholes who just don't like seeing progress, because the artists are the ones who push the envelope and push us forward into the future in the right directions. And there's only regressive people that want to hold us back into the dark ages where people are not as equal and they're treated unfairly like they used to be. As more and more people get treated more fairly, the people that like to treat people unfairly get whiny and cry and upset. And that's what this shit is. That's what this age is, a MAGA. Their bullshit war on DEI and things like that. It's progress. DEI is progress. People think that DEI is not progress. Well, we're regressing with your choice handcrafted cabinet. These are not DEI hires. We'd be way better off with DEI hires because they would be qualified people from all backgrounds instead of a bunch of jabronis who are yes men for Donald Trump that do not know the fuck they're doing on any of their jobs. I'm just saying. I mean, in some ways, if there's any kind of argument for DEI, it's the people that Donald Trump has personally picked out to run the government of the United States right now is one of the best arguments that any sane, intelligent person could see. Wow, we need more diversity investment in our workers because you know what? They're going to come from all kinds of different perspectives and we're stronger for it. That's one thing we understand here in Canada. And this may be one of our biggest strengths in any kind of bullshit coming up is that we value our diversity and that we very much like being different than each other because when you're different than each other, you have different perspectives and you have different skills and you have different abilities. And when you all come together, you're stronger for it. And well, if you want to have just a bunch of old white, rich, white, racist ass men to be the people making all the decisions, your viewpoints and perspectives are going to be very limited. And maybe the problem solving ain't happening on a certain level like it would if you had people from all walks of life. That's the key to diversity right there. You can have a team that's all 6'9", and well, you can only do certain things. But if you have a diverse crew, like a point guard, a center, and this and that and this, well, you get more done on the basketball court. And it's the same thing in government. And this is one of the funniest things. They've given such a bad example of how to run the U.S. government that in some ways the argument for DEI is stronger than ever. I think people get confused about what DEI is. DEI is not just giving a black person a job because they're black. No, it's about going and hiring the best person regardless of what they are. That is what we all agree on, right? But in some ways, DEI is necessary to help those people get in the door just to get a chance. Because there's been so many doors slammed shut and systemic racism in this world that, you know, at this point, DEI is basically recouping the bullshit that made it harder for certain people to get to those spots and saying, here's a path for you to get there so we can interview you and maybe give you the job. It's not just handing a job to somebody just because they're a minority or a woman or something like that. No, it's about putting a big net out and going through more people. And if that person is most qualified is a white man, well, hire him. If that person is most qualified is a black man, well, then hire him. If it's a black woman, then hire them. That's what it's about. It's about an equal opportunity to get the jobs. It's not handouts like some people want to paint it as. Oh, DEI is just handing people jobs because they're a minority or something like that. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. They don't understand it. They try and twist it and they try and make it like that. And that's not what it is. That's right. Seymour's saying you just described Alberta, at least Southern Alberta, 1942. Some of the bad stuff I was saying there. G saying respect to Hallie and his kind words to Dame. Okay, so Halliburton may be trolling the man on the court. He may be a friendly rivalry. I mean, there's history between Lillard and Halliburton in the three-point competition. Yeah, that's where a lot of this stems from. Is this feud comes from the three-point competition and shooting it out on the three-point All-Star weekend. Yeah, in some ways they've battled each other in different places over time, and in some ways they're similar kind of players. In some ways, Halliburton's a young upstart compared to the old guy who's been around for a while, Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard may be like, yeah, you're not that much better than me. There's a lot of shit talking. They're in similar kind of role on their teams. You know, there's a natural rivalry, and it's been inflamed in this series. But now Lillard's hurt badly, and Halliburton's being classy and making a statement about it. Well, that's a good guy. That's a good dude. In some ways, it's not like Tyrese has been the man who's killing it. In some ways, it is Siakam. But still, you know, Tyrese Halliburton showing a classy move by saying some nice things to Lillard. I like that. MJ saying, I also appreciate their gradual rollouts of partnerships and alliances. Toronto Temple is setting the tone to be a high-value organization. Well, that's the thing. Like, we got so much time before they actually start playing, and you want to keep people engaged and thinking about it. You're going to have to make big announcements from here to now every once in a while. Serena Williams, CIBC, you know, I'm sure they have more tricks up their sleeve. Like, some of the stuff that's going to be coming out for Toronto Tempo next is going to be the design of the court. They're going to have the court design, and they're going to show us what it looks like. They're going to come out and announce their mascot. They're going to come out and announce the coach. There's a lot of big announcements that are going to be coming from the Toronto Tempo over the next year, leading up to next year, right around now when they be getting ready for preseason, which is going to be fantastic. A year from now, right now, we're going to have players, we're going to have a coach, and we're going to have a team that's getting ready for training camp, ready to start the WNBA season right now. And that's going to be fantastic. We're just a year away from it now. But in that next year, we're going to have those things I just mentioned. We're going to have the jerseys revealed. We're going to have the expansion draft. We're going to have the regular draft. And yeah, then we'll start playing around this time next year. And I'm going to be excited. And speaking of the WNBA, guys, we have our fantasy draft this Sunday. There is still one spot left. And I really do want to get a regular person that's in this chat all the time to come in and enjoy playing with us. So seriously, I need one more team. And I'd like to get somebody that's a regular here that, you may not play fantasy ever. You may not have played it ever or have been interested in it. But a lot of people have joined and done it for the first time. And this is a great beginner league, honestly, because it's not like the NBA one. There's a lot more to the NBA one. WNBA is smaller league with less teams. And in some ways, it's easier to manage. Also, the games are more spread out. And also, the season is shorter. And in some ways, it's not really that cutthroat or serious of a league like the NBA one. I mean, it is still at a certain level. Meredith is a very good champion, two-time champion of our WNBA league. And they're going to want to win for the third time in a row. So you guys figure out if you can beat MK at the top this year, because nobody has beaten MK in WNBA yet. So I'm just saying, you want that challenge. If you're somebody who has not played fantasy at all, but you're regular on this channel, please join. Anybody who's here right now, you can join the league this year and play. We have one spot, and I want it to go to a very, very regular person that's on our channel. Regular, yeah. Seymour saying, I don't see us dodging racism for the next few years. These people in power are pushing negativity and hate. Well, this is the great thing, is that kind of like we know their playbook and we know kind of their dirty tricks and things like that. It's just really, you know what it is? It's about education. It's about awareness. It's about like encouraging young people to learn the history. The one thing they don't want us to do right now is to learn the dark history of racism and discrimination and really bad stuff that's happened. So it's really important that young people understand the history of mistakes and problems that have happened in this world so that they can try and shape the world ahead to create it. Now, one of the problems is they've shaped a lot of young people with hatred because of sadness and like different things. Like they infiltrated like chat rooms and places where young men are feeling disaffected and not able to be happy in their lives. And they've really preyed on them and created little monsters, misogynist, little women hating monsters. And that's like their little minions of new people. So in some ways we need to like reach out to the youth and get to them with the right stuff and try and get them in the right headspace. And right now there's too many times where there's young people are disaffected and they are the new blood for the conservative movements, the right-wing fascist racist movements. So that's where you got to start. You got to start with the kids. You got to start with mentoring. You got to start with education. You got to start with your own children. You got to start with the kids in your neighborhood and just trying to be a good role model. And, those kind of things don't go away just because some people want to dial it back to 1947 or something like that and live at that era again. No. In some ways, progress has happened. And these idiots are trying to revert it back, but they're going to get dragged with us going forward still, whether they like it or not. They can try and indoctrinate everybody into a Nazi world of like fascism, where they're going to be making people watch over their backs if they have any kind of like liberal views or any kind of like views of diversity. It's not going to work because there's too many of us. And already the status quo in the majority of the United States is rejecting this bullshit because they understand what's right and wrong as a whole. And that's why there's millions of people in the street out there. So we just got to head steadfast. Once again, these guys are in power, sure, but in some ways they're powerless without us cowering in fear. If we don't cower in fear, they don't have no power. If we stand up to them, we stand up to the bully. Well, it's just like the lunchroom. The same shit goes down. The bully loses their power. So this is what we got to do as a whole, as population, is stand up to the fucking bullies and tell them we're not going to be pushed around. and we will show you just how powerful the people are. So I don't want to be jaded, Seymour. In some ways, I know that your views are tainted because of the region you live in. It may look really bad around you, but understand. Hopefully, this election today will give you new wind underneath your wings to understand there are a lot more people that are like us than like them. And that's what we're going to find out today in Canada. Divide and conquer. Let's not fall for it. Let's not fall for it. When I'm out in public and I interact with anybody I run across, I'm saying, I've got your back and I love you. And I don't care where they come from or who they are. It's the same thing. I said it to some PC people in the grocery store. I said, listen, no matter what happens this election, I want you to know I love you as a liberal person. And that whatever bullshit they're feeding you, I don't hate you. And you shouldn't hate me either. Because seriously, that is the thing that beats hate is love. It's the exact opposite. It's like, look, I understand you may be misguided and stupid with your vote because you're going to vote for Pierre, but I want you to know I love you still. Because in some ways, that's the way that they divide us all, is to just make us want to be like angry at other people. It's agitation. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. That's what I'm saying. Kaloy's here. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freak family. Two-finger salute to the CPC to politicizing the Vancouver tragedy. Yeah, that's really fucked up and messed up. And you know what? These are the things that'll make people like, okay, yeah, I can't vote for you. You just fucked up. You know, these are the kind of things that make people's eyes open and like, wow, why are you politicizing this? Or you're going to be this, you're that dirty. You know, there's been a lot of vandalism of election signs in this election, and it's really childish, immature, and illegal, and very wrong to some people going around doing shit to election signs. You know, it's fishy. And then other people are just putting signs at people's yards without consent. People have been going around putting signs all over the place. And it's not by the landowner saying, no, I didn't say that you could put your sign here. What the fuck? There's this PC sign in my yard all of a sudden. I didn't want this in my yard. You know what I'm saying? There's been a lot of shady shit. And that's why everybody needs to have critical thinking for themselves, and you can see for yourself. You can line up the rhetoric of Pierre Poilievre next to Donald Trump's, and you see their carbon copy. That whatever Trump is doing down south, you could expect from Pierre. Do we want anything that Trump is doing up here? No, we do not. So that's why anybody who's voting Pierre Poilievre, you are a fucking traitor to this country called Canada. Because Canada stands for certain values. The true north, strong, and free. Diversity. Diversity is something that is an important value of our country. And you know what? Poilievre is not for diversity. He is not for this kind of stuff. And he will take away good projects and promote hate and division. He will take away services and benefits for our community that we've paid for with our taxes already, just to give tax cuts to his fat cat friends, just like Donald Trump is doing down south, getting rid of Head Start, a program for underprivileged youth who need lunch for school. You know, that's a great way to keep kids dumb. Don't feed them. Have bad nutrition, and they're stupider and they're easier to control like sheep. That's the evilness of the fucking platform of the right wing right now in this world, is don't feed the children, don't take care of them, get them as stupid as fuck so we can control them and use them as wage slaves and control them and if they're stupid, they're easier to control. If they're smart, like the Raptor Street and the Raptor Street family, well, I hate them because they already know everything and I can't fool them anymore. So in some ways, I want them to just go fuck away. And so we have all the young people stupid so we can control them later. So young people, be very smart and read banned books. Read all the shit they don't want you to read, because that is the shit that will have the answers that you're looking for. Right there. That's right. Stargate's here. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. The Lakers are done. Stick a fork in them. The league via the refs can't help them now. They haven't been able to for a few years now. They've tried to prop them up and help them. This team, if they weren't propping them up and helping them, they would have been at the bottom of the Western Conference every single year. Because I'm telling you, once again, there's certain players in this league that get in themselves in their way of winning. And LeBron is one of them. LeBron, Kevin Durant, and at some point, Giannis is becoming that guy soon too. Watch. These are guys that get in the way of winning for their team, because in some ways, they don't set the tone correctly as the figurehead top guy on their team. They just don't. LeBron does not set the tone right for the whole entire Lakers organization. Kevin Durant for the Suns. That's funny. That is funny. And in some ways on the down low, Antetokounmpo is like this too. in Milwaukee. I'm telling you right now, man. I'm telling you right now. Let's see. Fiercely saying Luka's defense is garbage. We clearly saw it yesterday. Lakers center Jackson Hayes has a very low IQ and very emotional, not smart like Jakob. Glad a referee called a foul on LeBron and was not afraid. Laugh out loud. I mean, I didn't watch the games once again. I vicariously watched the games through you guys and your reactions, and you guys were going off on the Discord server yesterday. Did not make a single statement on the Discord server, and y'all were having a party in there, specifically Tristan Trey and a Logical Raptors fanatic having a great discussion last night. I read it all. It's great stuff, guys. I love seeing that kind of interaction on the Discord server. It's exactly why I wanted to put it up there and see you guys chumming around during the games and talking about what's going down. And, well, I'm not watching the games, but I'm finding out what's happening. And I knew about this ref's hit job on the Pistons right away. And then the drama of the Lakers losing at the end. So good, man. NBA action. Fantastic. That's right. Fantastic. That's right. Stargate saying McDaniels and Naz Reid have been playing really well. These are the level players that the Lakers just lack. It's like, sure, you can have Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley. These guys are going to do certain levels, but where's the next level of player talent that's contributing to the team? Is your Naz Reids, your Jaden McDaniels. That is important. These guys are important. Nickel off the bench, he can be very important for them. That's the thing. The Lakers got maybe 3 guys, and I don't even count Austin Reeves. Austin Reeves is so freaking overblown in his hype. I do not believe half the shit they say about Austin Reeves, because half of it is because he's wearing purple and gold. If he was on any other team in this league, they would be treating him like Kevin Huerter. Seriously. He'd be just like Kevin Huerter on any other team. And Kevin Huerter ain't getting put on blast in any kind of way. It's just because he plays for the Lakers. He's very much overvalued and overhyped in certain ways. And, after that, Rui Hachimura, where the fuck are you going after that, Lakers? You got 2 deep, really, 2.5, really, in some ways. You ain't got jack shit after your main players, and a team beats a superstar team at this point. 2 superstars and a bunch of jabronis does not beat a full, complete team coached by Chris Finch. And that's just how it goes in the NBA right now. You didn't get the memo? You can't build superstar teams anymore. And I've been telling Raptors Nation this for a while. Stop trying to fucking build a superstar team with like 3 really good players and no good players after that, because that don't win in the NBA anymore. You got to have 10 deep. And you got to have 10 quality rotation men deep, because injuries going to happen. You're going to need somebody to step up and be next man up. So, yeah, that's where it is right there. Naz Reid and Jaden McDaniels, those guys are 2 of those guys in that hierarchy of the rotation for the Timberwolves that outclasses their counterparts on the Lakers and helps Minnesota win. That's it right there. Boom goes the dynamite. James is saying, are the Timberwolves better with Karl Anthony or Randall? This is a great question, James. I love this. I'm going to give you a dunk for this question. This is a really good question, James. I like this question. Thinking about it, listen, I know with Randall's build and his drive and the way he is and the years in New York, I would say that the drive and ability to try and win, I would trust Julius Randle over Cat. The Cat is so talented. He's so big and he can shoot threes. And in some ways, he's kind of aloof. Let's just put it that way. He's not totally the strongest competitor. In some ways, it's about compete and how much do you care. And Anthony Towns, he cruise controls sometimes with his talent. Sometimes in big games, he doesn't show up because he's just not putting that much into it. Now, Randall, he's the kind of guy that's going to come out there and fight every single night no matter what. And that's why I would say, yeah, you might be right, James, that the Timberwolves are better in that trade with DiVincenzo and Randall on their team than when they were with Cat. And part of it is also without Cat around, it's more makes sense what Gobert is supposed to be doing. Because when Cat was around, they had a 2-in-tower system, and there's a lot of kind of like sharing roles and kind of that. It makes it more confusing. Well, with the Cat gone, Gobert is just a legit center and running around being the pivot, and there's no weirdness about like this or that with Cat. It's kind of easier to slot them in and understand what their roles are. So I think that this is right. I think that if they beat the Lakers and get the next round and they compete at all in the second round with the next team they have to play, it'll be a sign that you're exactly right, James, that they are better because of the trade of trading Cat to New York. And they, in some ways, DiVincenzo and Randall, even if it's not flashy, and people are kind of like, oh, the Knicks fleeced the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, did they? Did they for outcome and what's happening with this? I don't know. I don't know. James saying still think they should have kept Cat. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that in some ways, like, I think that both their big men have flaws. I think Gobert is an absolute joke. And in some ways, he is not a serious player at all either. And he's annoying. But Cat is, they were both kind of like that. And in some ways, them being on the team together made each other lazier. Does that make any sense? Because in some ways, Cat didn't have to worry about defensive stuff because Gobert was around. And Gobert didn't have to worry about offensive stuff because Towns was around. So it's an interesting situation. In some ways, the evidence is results to me. And well, if Minnesota has better results this year in the playoffs than they ever had before, I'd be willing to say that they won that trade to an extent. Because what does it matter? Does it matter to show off and say, oh, we got a nice new fancy center in New York named Carl Anthony Towns, Bodega Cat. Ooh, he's so cool. Or does it matter if you get further in the playoffs and win more games, even if the players you got weren't flashier? Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo add up to more winning for the Timberwolves. Well, is that a win for that trade for the Knicks automatically? Just because they got the flashier, bigger, well-known player that, ooh, everybody's so happy he's in New York? That's what I'm talking about. What should matter about winning trades? I think winning and getting further in playoffs should matter more than having a big, shiny center. That's right. Seymour saying more of a threat with Cat because he stretches the floor more for Anthony and others. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I get that argument too. But once again, there was also some issues with Edwards with playing with both those guys. They really have to clear out for Edwards sometimes to get a good, clear path to the basket. And when those guys were both out there sometimes, Anthony Towns and Gobert, there wasn't no room for him to sling on through the lane and do his high-flying act. So I don't know. I'm going to make an argument that the Timberwolves are better without Cat, which I just did. Yes. Fiercey saying a great job to Pascal and Pacers. Milwaukee had no answer for them. Yeah, it is what it is. And in some ways, well, your back's against the wall now, Bucks. You're in big, big trouble. You're going to probably lose. Every team that's down 3-1 right now, you're in big trouble. Orlando, Lakers, Detroit, not rightfully so for Detroit. That's not fair to them. In some ways, that game that they lost yesterday, if they are out in this first round, they can blame the refs, honestly. They can absolutely blame the refs. Detroit Pistons fans. I feel bad for them, honestly, because they've had such a drought of playoffs, and they're going to get screwed over like this. But, this kind of smacks of early Raptors climb in the playoffs in the 2010s. You can go play Washington, Brooklyn, and a series in the first round, the Raptors, and get screwed over by the refs in those series, and then get screwed over by the refs in Cleveland series too. That's one thing that people seem to forget about LeBron. Sure, LeBron was overwhelmingly good, but the referees were hand-holding him too. There was some really bad calls in some of those series where we lost the Cavaliers in the 2010s. There definitely was some hand-holding for LeBron then too, and he was at higher power then. He could really take the ball and run with it when the referees handed him fouls and didn't call any fouls for us in those series, Cleveland versus Toronto with DeMar and Kyle. That's something that people conveniently forget, is that the referees absolutely were favoring doing hit jobs on the Toronto Raptors, along with LeBron dominating us. And people don't talk about that enough. They really don't. They forget about that. And I want to remind them real quick today. That's right. Stargate saying the Bucks are done as well. This may be just maybe the last games we're seeing Giannis in a Bucks uniform. They should have never traded Middleton, especially not to DC. Disrespect, especially not for Kyle Kuzma. Shaking my head. I know, man. I don't know why I get so good at this. I guess it's because this is what I do. I look at shit, I analyze it, and I say, yeah, this is bad. And trading Middleton for Kyle Kuzma was a horrible deal, Milwaukee. That's so stupid. Why would you do that? Chris Middleton, even if he's half hurt, is better than a fully healthy Kyle Kuzma. That's just the damn truth. And Milwaukee fans got to be questioning the front office for a move like that, because I don't think Milwaukee fans hate Chris Middleton. I would think they like a champion from their champion team. Like, why weren't they more upset about this trade? It was like, why could you do Middleton like this? He was been on our team for 12 years, and y'all just exiled him to Washington. What did he do to us? Did he do something wrong on the down low? Why would you do that to him? Punish him. I mean, seriously, man. In some ways, the Bucks get what they get because they've been very poorly managed for the last couple of years in their front office. Really, really poorly managed. Fiercely saying once the Lakers are out, the NBA will help the Celtics over the Knicks. We'll have to see. All in good time. The Celtics are obviously going to get past this round. Well, let's see. Every round's going to get tougher. And, there's teams like the Cavs and the Thunder out there. And that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. Those are going to be the tests right there. Cavaliers and Celtics. Woohoo. Yeah, we'll see if the Celtics can handle that. We'll see if the Celtics can handle that. That's right. Fiercely saying Stephen A. Smith being so ecstatic about the Knicks win was nauseating to watch. Yeah, fuck you, Stephen A. You can't see it. You be honest, man. Why don't you do one of your little rants and tirades about the referees screwing up? Oh, wait, your team won, so you're happy? So you're not fair and balanced. Why the hell are you an NBA person if you're going to be just Knicks fan? You're Knicks freak? And you got that platform, Stephen A. Smith? Knicks freak? Well, see, be like me, man. Be a fan and be outward about it. I'm a Raptors fan, first and foremost. I'm biased completely for the Raptors. Well, why don't you just go ahead and identify yourself? Hi, I'm Stephen A. Smith, Knicks freak. Why don't you just fucking say it? Why don't you just come out and be that way? You can't be fair and balanced to say, oh, the referees just screwed over Detroit and helped my team, the Knicks. You don't want to say that? You don't want to say that, Stephen A. Smith? You're a Knicks freak. That's what it is. You're a Knicks freak. Just go ahead and be honest about it. I'm honest about me. I'm a Raptors freak. Well, you're a Knicks freak. So just be honest. You're not really a journalist. You never were, man. You're like an entertainer. You're a personality. You're a talking head. You're like a crazy man that just talks. In some ways, you're like me. You're just a crazy man that talks and is a big fan of a team, the Knicks. But you weren't very proud of being the fan of that team for most of your life because they've been so bad. And it's embarrassing to be a Knicks freak most of your life. But right now, times are good. So it's like, hey, I got to be Knicks freak and be happy and revel with the people in New York City, run around the streets. Nobody should have been gutting in the street yesterday. If any of the Knicks fans were out running around in the streets of New York acting like they won a championship, y'all are idiots. Seriously. Y'all are idiots. If you're going to celebrate every playoff victory like that, Knicks fans, y'all are idiots. Especially one that got handed to you by Adam Silver yesterday on a silver platter. Let's go and call it the Adam Silver platter. How about that? I just made something new. Is that cool? You like that new statement, the Adam Silver platter? I think we'll call it that. We'll call it that. Hey, Knicks, you got a Adam Silver platter coming up for you yesterday. There you go. There's your Adam Silver platter. Adam Silver platter. There you go. Reggie's saying the ref was literally standing to the side of Tim Hardaway Jr. He saw the foul and didn't call it. So disappointed in them. David Guthrie, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? Well, David Guthrie, in some ways, he is a good ref, but he is somebody I know on the download does ref hit jobs. Like he's versed in them, just like Ed Malloy, Scott Foster. He's versed in them, just like them. He really is. He's versed in how to do a download ref hit job. That's why David Guthrie is one of the highest ranking refs because they know that they can put him in situations where it matters, like yesterday, and he will do the right thing and not call the call for this narrative or the storyline they want for the team to win. Yeah, he'll do that. David Guthrie is a ref hit job artist on the download. He is. He will control that, and he'll make that like that. Trevor's saying JJ Redick say they don't have rim protection. Yeah, they traded it for Luka. That was so dumb. You guys were a better, more complete team before you made the Luka trade. Once again, y'all can do big flashy name trades and move people all around there. Doesn't mean your team gets better. And this is a lesson for Raptors Nation. Just because y'all want Antetokounmpo doesn't mean that he'd be good for our team. Seriously. It's not like, in some ways it's a cat is not necessarily Mikal Bridges overstepped. They didn't need to get him in New York. And the Luka coming to LA did not make any fucking sense. Maybe LA get him after LeBron's gone. Yeah, when they need a new superstar on their team, but it's still in some ways they don't have anything built around this. And part of it is the GM Rob Pelinka is horrible. He hasn't developed any young good talent around LeBron. You're going to say Austin Reeves? Okay, that's it. That's it. Who the fuck else have they developed out there young wise in Lakers land in the last 5 years? Seriously, ask yourself that. Bronny? Okay, Bronny. They're developing Bronny. Okay. James is saying, Lex, you still want the Raps to draft Malawach? Are you going to do a video on 5 players Raps should draft like last year? Yeah, I'm going to do this. We're going to, once again, a lot of the hyperdrive on the draft will happen after the lottery. Once I know the exact pick that we have after the 12th of May, when we see the draft lottery, then we're going to go deep dive on more specific ideas about what is really possible at that number in the draft. And yeah, we will do a deep dive. There's going to be a Thursday think tank on comment, just specifically him. In fact, we might do it this week. Yeah, Thursday think tank, comment Malawatch. Let's talk about him on the Thursday think tank this week. Talk about the concerns about him and his visa status and the fit with the Raptors and whether we like him on there. So we will be doing Thursday think tanks in the weeks coming up on certain draft prospects that are very, very much in the target for the Raptors possibilities for drafting. So yeah, we will do this, James. And I will have a list of the 5 guys that I think that they should draft the most. Yeah, I will do that this year again, for sure. Reggie saying it sucks for Detroit, man. Yeah, I hate it too, man. I hate it too. I hate it for Dennis. I hate it for JB Bickerstaff. In some ways, JB has had a raw deal most of this past year. In some ways, he's seeing the team he coached last year go to the top of the Eastern Conference. And, but he's shown face and got a team that was the worst team last year into the playoffs. And that's a huge accomplishment in itself. I don't know, baby steps. The Pistons are on a journey and they've been building up. And once again, who's the person that helped them? Dwayne Casey. Dwayne Casey is a big part of the reason why the Pistons are in the playoffs right now, because he helped build that program up just like he did for the Raptors in the 2010s. So, yeah, I think the Pistons are going to be a playoff team going forward. Kate Cunningham's the real deal, and they've done a pretty good job of putting a team around him, a team that's diversified with a lot of different talents and powers. People like Beef Stew, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., Tobias Harris. Yeah, it's a nice nucleus in some ways. A nice nucleus right there. Yeah. Stargate saying Nebhard is playing really well in the playoffs. I love it when the role players are difference makers in the playoffs. That's what the Lakers severely lack, role players that are difference makers. Yeah, this is actually another way of stating what I've been just saying, is you got to have 10 useful guys deep. And they're role players. They're not necessarily superstars, but they have specific jobs and they cover certain bases of what you need on a basketball team to make it work. It's just like a band. You need a bassist. You need a drummer. And if you don't have somebody setting that baseline, like getting the rebounds and the paint protection, well, you're the Lakers and you're fucked. And that's really a part of it right there. It's a big part of it. Andrew Nebhard is an interesting role player because he's a role player off the bench as a backup point guard that can really actually flourish and become a whole other level of what he is on top of what he is. In some ways, I have more faith in Andrew Nebhard becoming a more and more better pro than Tyrese Halliburton. In some ways, Tyrese Halliburton's already hit like a really crazy high point in his career, but he may not be much better for the rest of his career. In fact, he may look like he's worse because he's just not consistently good night in, night out. Now, Andrew Nebhard, though, as a very young player with only a few years under him, he could turn into more and more of a superstar as time goes on. Let's just put it that way. So right now, he's a role player off the bench like Fred was in our championship. When we see what Fred's path went to, Van Vliet, yeah, well, Nebhard could be like that too. I'm telling you, he may be a backup point guard right now. But give Andrew some time. That's right. Team Canada all the way, baby. Let's go. James is saying Detroit should target Kuminga. If he's on the trade block, he's a Tobias Harris replacement. And that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, they already went through James Wiseman as the cast off from Golden State. High draft picks that the Warriors waste, that they just drop the ball and fumble on. James Wiseman was one. He came kind of passed through there, and then he passed through with us, and we just waived him. We didn't even bring him in because we knew he was a waste. Well, Kuminga, in some ways, he's shown a lot more promise, and he can play in the NBA. And but they're also saying he doesn't seem like he's going to be in Golden State for much longer, which is weird too. But they've done a lot of work on getting Jonathan better and better in his young career, and they've had way more success with him than they did with James Wiseman. But still, I consider Kuminga and Wiseman both failures for the Warriors. I really do. Smooth saying, thoughts on the Aaron Gordon dunk to the end of the game, Lex? I did see the highlight and how close it was. Now, this is my biggest concern about that shot. It's not about when the light came on. It's about whether that is goaltending. Seriously. Because the way he caught it, it looked like it was above the cylinder and it was still coming on its way down. It didn't hit the rim before he caught it. He caught it above the cylinder and just threw it down himself. So in some ways, that may have been offensive goaltending is what I would have called on that play. Because it looked like he was above the cylinder. And once again, Jokic's shot looked like a shot. It didn't look like a pass. It looked like a shot. And Gordon just went up there and snatched it and put it in just to make sure it went in. So I don't know. To me, I'm not worried about the buzzer. I'm not worried about when the light comes on. In some ways, that is something you could debate too, is whether he did it in time before the light. I'm more worried about whether that was offensive goaltending. Yeah, yeah, that's what I thought about that. Smith saying Clippers looked like they were going to overtime to close out Denver and go up 3-1. Nope, 2-2. Yeah, Nuggets. In some ways, they're wily. In some ways, they've been a very strong playoff team for a couple years now, and that's the wiliness of them. And in some ways, the trick shots and weird stuff of Nikola Jokic comes through too. I don't know. I really do feel like he was taking a shot to win the game. That fadeaway weird ass shot he took, and Aaron Gordon may have grabbed it while it was above the cylinder, and it should have been offensive goaltending. But the drama of it all and the way it looked, I mean, that's the way the old NBA would work without instant replay and all kinds of things like going back and looking at things. The old NBA would be just the refs eyeball it and say, yeah, this happened this way. And well, the Nuggets have won. In some ways, if it's so dramatic and it's such a conclusive kind of ending, even if it's just a split second behind, like the Jamal Shed game winner that Josh Tiven did not allow this season for the Raptors, I would have let him have that one, even if it was just a millisecond too late. Because in some ways, the drama of it happening and the good vibes that you give the building, in some ways, that they should have given that one to Jamal. Seriously. Even in the old NBA, that would have been a Raptors basket and they wouldn't have fucking reviewed it or anything. The old NBA back in like the 80s, 90s, the early 2000s, they would have saw that and said, no, Raptors made the shot, game over, Raptors win. But no, because it's the new era, they can go back and really watch it and really, really pick it apart. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, if you want to do it that way, like if there's a big dramatic last second shot, that's more fun to say it made it than to say, no, it's no good. It's an anticlimactic if you do that. You say, oh, he made the dunks. It's no good, though. Offensive goaltending. No, forget about that. It's drama. It's excitement. The fans are excited. Let them have the win. Let them have the score. In some ways, I don't mind them counting it for Gordon. It's just that I would rather the NBA do this more often at buzzer beaters. Maybe there's a little bit of a grace period where there's like a couple of milliseconds, even when the light goes off. If that shot goes in, you can allow it to count still. I don't know. Maybe that you want to make the fans happy. You want to keep them entertained. And you don't want to make the fans feel like the Raptors fans did that night when you took Jamal Shed's game winner away. You know, that's I just feel that way. In some ways, that's part of the entertainment is to entertain the fans. Why do you want to send the fans at the home game home in a bad taste in their mouth and feel like, whoa, we just got screwed by the refs? You know, in wrestling, you know, the last match of the night in the main event, you usually want the face to go over, the good guy. Is it the good guy goes over? Everybody's like, yay, the good guy won at the end and overcame the bad guys in the ring and the main event and the steel cage. And they won, and you know you feel better, and people get a high from coming away from seeing a cool victory and evil getting beaten by good. Well, it should in some ways could be the same thing in the NBA. It's like if there's a buzzer beater and the home team wins on it, don't take it away just because it's a split second too late. Is what I say on that. You know, let's see. Trevor's saying NBA player Dick Barnett passed away, and Kevin Love, his dad, also passed away. Two former NBA players from the history of the NBA. Stan Love, the father of Kevin Love, the brother of the Beach Boys, and then also Dick Barnett, Knicks champion, very important player in the Knicks organization history. He was there for both their championships in the 70s with Earl Monroe and Walt Frazier. And yeah, Dick Barnett, it's a sad one. He was 88, I believe. And then, yeah, Stan Love, the father of Kevin Love, has passed away. And I think that may be part of the reason why that Kevin Love has been missing games near the end of the season, is that his father hadn't been doing very well. And, well, we'll have to see if Kevin's playing today. Probably not. Probably won't be playing for the Miami Heat against the Cavs today. Yeah, in some ways, he's doing a solid for his old team, the Cavs. Yeah, that's sad, man. That's sad. I always sad to hear about NBA legends passing. And, you know, you do a moment of silence for Dick Barnett. It's a classy thing to do. And for Stan Love, former NBA players that passed away this weekend. So we'll do that just for a second here. Yeah, it's sad, man. Isaac wants to give me a dunk. All right, I'll take a dunk, Isaac. I'll take a dunk, Isaac Campbell. Thank you, benevolent Isaac Campbell. That is my 4th dunk of the year. I'm at 12 points on the dunk charts, y'all. There you go. Smooth saying, hang on. Ooh, my voice. Smooth is saying Clippers are the better team and should win the series logically speaking, though. It galls me to say that. It's true, though. Well, this, once again, the argument I've been making on all these playoff series is which team is 10 deep better? And the Clippers are, or than the Nuggets too. The Nuggets have Jokic, Jamal, Russell, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter, sure. But really after that, there's not a whole lot of quality on the Nuggets team. Whereas the Clippers have a very solid starting 5 with a couple of Hall of Famers in it. Let's just put it that way. And Harden and Leonard are playing great right now, and they seem pretty healthy. And then you've got Zubac is really important and good too. And then you got some pretty good quality players off the bench. Norman is a fantastic playoff player too. So yeah, I believe in this too, Reggie. And I kind of was thinking this already at the beginning. If Kawhi is healthy, the Clippers should beat the Nuggets. That's what I was thinking. The Clippers should beat them. Seymour saying Lakers going out like Shannon Sharp. Whoa, yeah. Too soon? Too soon. I don't know. Does Shannon Sharp lose his job because of the sex scandal? I don't know. Lakers fakers, Minnesota, the real Lake Show in 5. There you go. I like that. Yeah, it's kind of ironic that the Lakers are losing to Minneapolis, Minnesota, Minneapolis Lakers, George Mikan era, 1950s NBA, where George Mikan won Lakers championships in the city of Minneapolis when they were the Minneapolis Lakers, the real Lakers, as Seymour is putting there. That is exactly right. So, yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. And, yeah, it's kind of a history lesson for Lakers Nation. It's kind of like if they built a team somewhere else and called them the Huskies, and all of a sudden the Huskies were beating us in the first round. It's like the Huskies are beating the Raptors. Be like, what? The Huskies? What? Peter's here, y'all. We've got our Raptor Freak 2-time fantasy champion, NBA champion. Peter Saborn is in the chat. Peter, I have not seen you in the chat in a long, long time. I'm very happy to see you. Welcome back, man. And go Raps. I like that. Yeah, I'm all about the Raptors. You know that. The Raptor Freak is all about the Raptors. And I wish you well. And your brother and Morgan, everybody. I wish you guys all well. And I hope you guys are voting today. And yeah, Peter, I'm going to get you your championship trophy down next time I come down near your neighborhood in the city. I don't get downtown very often. But when I do, I'm going to come by with it and I'm going to drop it off at the concierge so that you have your trophy for winning the Raptor Freak Fantasy Championship this year. So, Peter, congratulations. It's hard work. It's a long season. And I know you put a lot of work into it. And you deserve your trophy. And you're a 2-time champion now. It's kind of amazing that Peter and MK are both 2-time champions right now, and they can go for 3-peats. Honestly, Peter, if you want to come back and play next year, obviously you need the ability to defend your championship. So we'll have to figure this out. Seymour saying salute to the Saborin family. Yeah, there you go. I like that. Peter's saying the Lakers are garbage, but the refs have the power to alter things drastically. Hopefully they just let them play basketball. Yeah, I'm totally with you on this. That's the only way this thing gets extended. But I feel good because Scott Foster is sitting on the sidelines. The extender is not able to extend, and he's masterful at it. If the NBA really wants to extend a playoff series, Scott Foster will be there. And, well, we're not going to see him because he has a leg injury, and he is not able to ref these playoffs. In some ways, the best kind of weapon that the refs can use to manipulate the game is on the sidelines this playoff season, and that's fantastic. I'm not upset about this. The Scott Foster, the extender, is not available for right now. So, yeah. The Lakers are just – they're not a real team. They're a couple of superstars, and that's it. That's really who they are. And a podcaster's their coach. Podcaster's their coach. Fiercely saying, actually, I believe the Wolves would be fine without Gobert. He is lazy, and he doesn't chase balls. I was appalled yesterday. Seriously, Anthony, Randall, DiVincenzo, McDaniels, and Reed are way more engaged. You know, in some ways, it's funny. It's like Gobert is this weird guy that, like, he is really one of the best defenders in the league, but he doesn't try. So you got to wonder, what the hell would he do if he did try? Like, seriously, maybe it's good that he doesn't try, and it would be too overpowering if he was a player that actually got off his ass and tried harder. So in some ways, I'm okay with this. Let him be lackadaisical. In some ways, he's a power in itself just by being lackadaisical and not really trying. But I would wonder about this. And seriously, Chris Finch, people around Timberwolves, how do you motivate Rudy Gobert to go to another level? I don't think you do. I think that the guy's a goofball. I think that the guy is exactly who he is, and it's just going to be that. And well, it's good that these other guys are more active on defense. In some ways, Rudy can just lurk and be a threat and kind of just be his half-ass self, and he's still very effective, which is crazy. And now he's not going to be good on offense. That's the area also where I see him like, man, that guy is so bad. Like when you see Rudy Gobert try and do offense, it's kind of a comedy show. Seriously, it's a kind of a comedy show. That man has no touch and he has no kind of offensive skills at all, but he is really imposing on defense. That's for sure. Yeah, Kaloy saying Luka ain't winning anytime soon. Pelinka sucks at building teams. Laugh out loud. Yeah, I agree with this. I feel like he's a very overrated person, and I'm surprised he got extended recently for his contract as the GM of the Lakers. And I feel like in some ways that position in the Lakers is not necessarily about being good at your job. It's about politics and being able to work with Jeannie Buss and the other people around the Lakers organization, like LeBron, and be a certain level of yes man, but also like not rocking the boat, but not making people feel like look bad or anything like that. It's not necessarily about being the best at your job, like Bobby Webster. It's about fitting in with Lakers bullshit and toxicness and the hierarchy of power struggle. In some ways, the Lakers are more like the Leafs because there's a lot of people that would love to be in charge of them. And all kinds of people are trying to jump in the spot and drive the train. And, you know, that's been a huge problem for the Leafs since they won the Stanley Cup is that it's prestigious and all kinds of people love to be in charge of the Leafs. So it's really hard to get one person like a Masai Ujiri who's just the engineer at the front of the train. You got a lot of people trying to pull levers in the engine for the Leafs franchise and the Lakers franchise, and that's why it's hard. That's why it's hard in some ways because everybody wants to be the boss and they all want to be cooks in the kitchen. And well, a franchise and a team in sports is run best when one figurehead person is in charge and they kind of have a vision and they're making all their decisions in a way that sees a big picture that builds towards that big picture, and that's Masai Ujiri for the Raptors. But Rob Pelinka, I don't think he can be like Masai Ujiri and just say, this is my big picture and this is what I want to see. No, he's got to listen to Jeannie. He's got to listen to LeBron, and he's got to fit his vision with their visions of what they want to do too. And that may taint the overall vision of what the Lakers should be doing because, once again, there's more cooks in the kitchen. And they all kind of have different parts that they're trying to pull and do stuff like that. Yeah. Stargate saying the age of the big three teams makeup is over. Yeah. Adam Silver killed it. He killed it. And I'm glad he did. Because in some ways, that system benefited the big markets so much more because they were the only ones who could afford paying three huge superstars and building a super team like the Heatles or the Boston original big three with Garnett, Allen, and Paul Pierce. You know, that those kind of teams, and the last one was Durant in Golden State that really worked and was the last one. And boom, in some ways, the Raptors killed it, killed the dynasty era with our championship. And ever since then, a different champion every year. And Adam Silver is telling the NBA teams, don't try and do what the Phoenix Suns just did. Yeah, you can see what happened to them this year. Don't try and bring in Bradley Beal at the last second and have a three-headed monster. No, because it's not going to work in this league anymore. You have to have team concept and a good roster that has an overall picture to it that makes sense. The puzzle pieces have to fit. And, well, it means you have to have more skill as a GM in the NBA than ever. You can't just be like, I'm going to get LeBron and Luka and we're going to win championships. No, not in this NBA. That shit ain't working now. It's over. Over, Vince Carter. That's right. Fiercely saying, Trevor, had they focused on developing Koloko, they would have rim protection by now. Such a waste for him. But he chose to go there, so they won another one. Another one. Listen, I ain't Nostradamus, but this is something I said exactly the day that Christian Koloko went to the Lakers. I said, that's your choice, Christian. You fool. You could go there just to appease Rich Paul and LeBron and try and help them with their center depth. Well, they are going to sell you out and you're going to hurt your own personal development being around there because they helped no player in the last 5-6 years with their development and getting better in LA. No, Christian, you would have been better off turning right around and coming back to Toronto. But no, you didn't do that. So you get what you get. And I warned you right when it happened. And no, you didn't check in with the Raptor streak, and you didn't listen. In some ways, well, it's too bad, man. You had a real potential for an NBA career, but it would have been better off keep going in Toronto. Because Lakers, dead note. And where are you now? You're sitting outside the playoffs. Meanwhile, the son of the main player on your team is nepotismed onto the playoff roster. Who do you rather have on your playoff roster? Bronny James or Christian Koloko? Who do you think would be more helpful in this situation right now that the Lakers are in? Yeah, nepotism and the bullshit with Bronny James. Fuck the Lakers in some ways at the end of the season because you know what? Koloko's a rim protector, bro. Koloko can block shots. Koloko can do this. You didn't have faith in Koloko. He didn't put on enough weight. It's too easy to push around. Well, y'all had him for a year. What were y'all doing with him? Where was he getting development? Where was he getting better? So he could help y'all now when you really need the skill set that he has. But no, you go ahead and leave him off of your playoff roster and put Bronny James on it instead. That don't sound right to me. That don't sound right to me at all. That's right. That's right. Trevor's saying that the Lakers played all 5 starters all the second half over 40 minutes. Yeah, that's something I read. That was the first time this has happened since Tom Thibodeau did it a while back with the Bulls. It was like Thibodeau was coaching the Bulls when he did this, where he played only same 5 players for the whole entire second half, did not make a single substitution the whole second half. And the Lakers did that yesterday. Well, that shows you right there that they don't trust anybody on their bench, that they're going to play the same 5 guys the whole entire second half, not even make any subs for, and they're going to complain that they lost because they're gassed. Well, JJ Redick, hello. It's like, what are you setting them up to lose by being tired, by not playing anybody except for 5 guys? Like, hello, you guys talk about your podcast. You and LeBron are so genius about talking about the ins and outs of basketball on a deep level. I love talking basketball theory with you, LeBron, on our podcast. I love it. We're so high level talking about basketball. Oh, yeah, Lakers are real high level about talking about basketball. But they can't figure out to make substitutions in the second half so they don't have totally tired in the last 5 minutes of game so that they lose the game to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I mean, JJ Redick, you say you're a really genius, smart basketball coach. I think you failed yesterday by playing the same 5 guys the whole entire second half. And Lakers Nation, you want a little bit of tinder to put in your fire of toxic dumpster fire right here? Here's a little stick. Go come at JJ Redick for playing the same guys for the whole entire second half. Come at him with pitchforks and torches, please. Go ahead. He's such a genius. Man, did they talk about that on a podcast, a fake one before the game? It's like JJ and LeBron get in a little room before the game. Hey, I know we don't do our podcast anymore, JJ, but I love it so much. Let's just sit in here and talk to each other like we would be on the podcast. Okay, LeBron. Yeah, I'm really thinking about tonight. I might just play the same 5 guys the whole entire second half. That's brilliant, JJ. We're such brilliant basketball philosophers. We just know so much about basketball. Yeah. Don't you think that's a great idea, LeBron? Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Let's do it. Let's see if it works. That's stupid, man. Why would you not make any subs in the second half of the game, you idiot, JJ Redick? This is what happens when you let podcasters coach a team. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Smooth saying winner of Lakers Timberwolves will play the winner of the Houston Golden State. See, that's where I don't trust shit. Because the obvious, the matchup they're going to want is Golden State versus the Lakers. That's obvious that they're going to want that. They may railroad the Rockets for sure. In some ways, we'll see what happens tonight. If the Rockets are down 3-1, well, it's going to be big time trouble for Freddie and his crew, Dylan Brooks. But this is crazy. If they can try and make the Lakers come back and win against the Minnesota Timberwolves just so they can have Golden State versus the Lakers, well, script writing, and we'll call it out. Chris Finch, stop that shit. That's what I'll say right there. Former assistant coach of the Toronto Raptors, Chris Finch, go ahead and stop that shit. I know you can. I know you will. I believe in you, man. I believe in you. Smooth saying OKC is waiting for the winner of the Clippers and the Nuggets. Yeah. That's going to be fun. Either one of those teams against the Thunder will be fun. I could see the Thunder playing the Nuggets as kind of like the past, handing the future, the baton. And then Clippers versus Thunder would be a grudge match. It'd be a weird kind of thing where SGA would have a thing. Hey, this is the team that drafted me. This is the team that gave up on me and traded me away. Well, he might have some extra juice to kick the Los Angeles Clippers ass. SGA. Oh, yeah, I could see that, man. I could see that. Peter's saying, oh, don't think NBA playoffs are a bracket. So OKC will play the lowest remaining seed. I could be wrong, but I think that's how it works. No, it is a bracket, Peter, with all due respect, correction. It is a bracket. So they will go against the way that Reggie said it. Because what they do basically is the Thunder seed, which is the number one seed, would be bracketed with the middle seed. So they're going to play the winner of the 4-5 matchup. And whoever has that one will be the person who plays the Thunder in the next round. And that's even if there's an upset in one of the other rounds, like the lower seed beats the higher seed, they don't get reseeded to play the Thunder. So they are going to be directly coming at the winner of the Clippers Nuggets. There won't be any reseeding. So, yeah, just to clear it up. Smooth saying the winner of the Cavs and Heat plays the winner of the Bucks and the Pacers. So it'll probably be Cleveland versus Indiana, which is a classic matchup in the history of the Central Division of the NBA. Pacers and Cavs has been a matchup many, many times in history, whether you go back to Mark Price and Reggie Miller. There's all kinds of different eras where Cavs and Pacers would be battling. Well, that's going to be a tall order for Siakam and his crew because Cavs are really, really tough, man. And, well, we'll have to see. That'll be a fun series, though. Let's see. Winner of Knicks and Pistons play the winner of the Celtics and the Magic. Yeah, and if the NBA gets its way, it's going to be that New York-Boston rivalry reheated up. And, well, we'll see. In some ways, that's actually an area where I'll get behind OG and his guys. DeLon Wright. Yeah, we got some former Raptors on the Knicks. And going against the Celtics, I will definitely be rooting for New York in that one. Because if New York can put the Celtics out, there's no repeat. Precious, let's go. Put Precious in, Tom Thibodeau. Why the hell are you going to play 7 guys? You could at least put Precious out there for some of his fouls. Come on now. Play Achua. Why are you not playing Achua? I don't get it. Peter's saying the Heat won't play the Pacers if they both win. Boston would play the Heat 2 versus 8. I'm trying to think about that. Yeah, Cleveland will play the 4-5 matchup. And who's the 4-5 matchup? Cleveland would be playing, Bucks and Pacers. So, no, it would be the Heat aren't going to get through, first of all, because Cavs are going to beat them tonight and sweep them. I'm pretty sure. So, no, they don't reseed it, Peter. They don't reseed it. That's the one thing I got to tell you. They don't reseed it. It's like this: the 1 and the 8 go in the same bracket as the 4 and the 5. And then the 2 and the 7 are in the same bracket as the 3 and the 6. So that no matter what, the first seed in each side of the conference will play either the 4th or the 5th in the second round. And that'll be lower than like the second or the third. So there's not a direct reseed. If there is an upset, there can be a team that gets home court advantage in the second round that shouldn't have. Reggie's saying, crossover stuff. No, I don't think there's crossover stuff. This is the way they've always done it this way. Let's see. Smooth saying Heat are not winning, though. It's over for them tonight. Yeah, they're toast. I agree with you guys. Davion's been a huge success for them, and he should be looking at a big contract with the Miami Heat this summer. The thing about the Heat is some of the fans are already kind of declaring who they want to keep around and who they want to cast aside. And I think Tyler Hero's in, Bam Adebayo's in, Davion Mitchell is in, Kelly Oubre is in. But after that, they're like, yeah, we each get rid of everybody else and we'd be happy. There's like those 4 guys we want to keep, and the rest of them, you get rid of them. Terry Rozier, Jaime Vasquez Jr., like they've already given up on him. That man's not even been playing a whole lot. And they're like, yeah, we could trade Jaime. It's really interesting. Now that Jimmy's gone, Jaime's not that important. And, there's a lot of players that have been around that team. Like we're talking about Andrew Wiggins even came in this deal. They don't care about keeping him either. So there's only 4 guys Heat Nation really values right now. And that is Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Kelly Oubre, and Davion Mitchell. Isn't that crazy? Those are the 4 guys that Heat Nation's like, we have to keep these guys for sure. Everybody else can go, is what they're saying. That's what they're saying right now. Let's see. Slug DZ saying, imagine we drafted Nebhard instead of Koloko. Was that an option at that time? Could we have drafted Andrew Nebhard at that time instead of Koloko? Are you sure that he was on the board still at that time? I'm not totally sure if that was possible. I'm not totally sure if that was possible. That would have been nice. I mean, in some ways, the thing is, the Raptors are cautious and weary of drafting from our area. In some ways, we like the whole thing that happened with RJ, where RJ did his formative years in New York and then came to us after his rookie contract. In some ways, that we kind of, Delano may have been a lesson. Maybe it's not good for Andrew to play for the Raptors first in his career, but coming in after the Pacers may be good. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't ever give up on Canadian players possibly coming into Toronto because a lot of these guys do dream of playing for the Raptors. Zach Edey, SGA. These guys do have childhood dreams of wanting to be on the Raptors. There's no denying this. And in some ways, I don't mind having Zach Edey on the Grizzlies for the beginning of his career. And then who knows? Free agency comes, and all of a sudden he's like, you know what? I'd like to come home to Toronto and put on a Raptors jersey because I've always wanted that since I was a kid. So I never fear things with Canadian players. If they're going to get their chance to come to Toronto, they will, like RJ did. And they will. They will. That's what I'm all about right there. That's what I'm all about right there. That's right. Smooth saying, at what point does Miami let go of Pat Riley? It seems like he's holding them back from rebuilding that team. That's a good question. Really good question, Reggie. I'm gonna give you a dunk for that question. Pat Riley's getting up there. Pat Riley is right around 80 years old, guys. And in some ways, though, the job is something where you don't really need to be that young. As long as you have your faculties and you're able to think, and also, in some ways it's an advisor role. So, you can think about Wayne Embry on our team. Wayne Embry, man, he's like pushing 100. He's been around for a long, long time, and God willing, he'll be here for many, many more years. I love you, Wayne Embry. But this is the thing. Pat Riley could do the same thing. He could be lurking. In some ways, he's not totally active as the main everyday kind of guy. Sure, he's a president of operations, stuff like that. But he's old, and he needs time, and he needs to stay home for a day. They have no problem with saying, yeah, just stay home. Eric will run things, or we'll do this, So I think that Pat Riley will probably be involved with the Miami Heat, maybe right up until the day he dies. I'm not going to lie, because in some ways he's that kind of person. He doesn't want to retire, and he's going to want to be involved and doing something viable and worthwhile with his time. So I could see him not stepping away and being involved for a while, as long as he's got his faculties and he's able to kind of think straight. He should be around still. Peter's saying, sorry, guys, it's a bracket system, no reseeding. Smooth, you're correct. Yeah, it's all good, Peter. I mean, different sports do different things. I'm not sure what they do with soccer around the world. In the NHL, do they reseed right now? Because that may be part of what gets people confused, is because I do feel like the NHL might reseed after the second round, don't they? I think they do, right? Well, it looks like the Maple Leafs are probably going to beat the Sens, although some people are already calling there's going to be a choke job and the Ottawa's going to come back. That's crazy. They didn't sweep them, so it's 3-1 right now, and that would be epically fail if the Leafs choke this series and end up losing 4 straight right in a row. That would be horrible. I don't see it happening, but some people want this, and they're talking about this happening for the Leafs right now. And then I think that my friend who follows the NHL very well, Stevie Roots, was saying that after this we'd have to play either Florida or Tampa, which that is where the issues start happening for the Leafs, right? In their history in the playoffs in recent years, is when they play the Lightning or the Panthers, they get messed up by these Florida teams. So hopefully this year ain't like that. They can finish off the Senators and get into the next round. And what Stevie was saying is it's more likely that they're going to have to play Tampa Bay or Florida in the second round. So that's the tough time right there. That is the tough time right there. Peter's saying we can't give the refs any more power to subjectively decide rules. We'd never win. Yeah. It's weird because it's really kind of a weird system in the NBA. The NBA just makes up rules every year, and they just decide when they want to do what and enforce what. And it really is like every year the players have to adjust to the areas of emphasis that the referees are looking at. And this year it was stepping out on picks and sticking a leg out and tripping people up. They really called that a lot. And they had a video that came out at the beginning of the season saying this the way that people set picks is going to get called for offensive fouls way more often this year. And then we saw that. And the players have to adjust. The players have to see it. So really, refereeing the NBA really is subjective. And it is when they want to focus on certain areas, they'll focus on them and they'll call it a lot. And then other times they won't. Traveling is one of these weird things too. It's like there's a lot of traveling going on in the NBA right now. And certain things they will call travels on, but certain things they won't. And they just allow them to go. So each player has to be aware. It's almost like they have to have a yearly referee handbook for what the refs are really keying on and emphasizing, point of emphasis on. Then these are things that are very, very important. Yeah, and the refs, like, look, I don't think refs should decide games. There used to be a rule in the NBA where the last 2 minutes, fouls are not going to bail you out, and you're not going to get points at the foul line. And well, the NBA refs have been lazy, and they've manipulated games by giving people trips to the free throw line at the end of games to help them get more points to stay ahead as the team that they favor to want to win. And that's a way that they will manipulate. They call fouls on one end and they don't call the other end, and they're giving free throw trips to the team they want to win. You can see that. You can see that in the game sometimes. Reggie's saying, what direction does Miami have? A bunch of NBA vets that are at best a 40-win team. Yeah, it's weird because this is the thing. You know what? In some ways, Miami's success over the last decade has been really predicated on undrafted talent. They've had a really good pipeline of guys coming to their team that weren't gotten through the draft and were cheap and were absolutely bonkers, way better than they should have been. But that pipeline seems like it's dried up a little bit in the last year or so. We could think about, Max Strus and different people like that that got big on Miami as undrafted players, and now they're gone. They've gone to other places. And I'm like, who is the undrafted whizzes that are on their team right now that they can tout and say, oh, these are all our undrafted guys. They're such valuable role players off the bench. You don't see them on their bench anymore. What happened to that pipeline of undrafted excellence that Miami had coming to them so much? I guess they're just not hitting on them anymore. I guess they had a lucky streak where they really found a bunch of guys like Jamison Battle. And they just ain't finding them. Well, the Raptors found Jamison Battle this year instead. Oh, that would have been the player that the Miami Heat would have found, is a three-point specialist outside the draft named Jamison Battle. But no, he's in a Raptors jersey. So that's kind of a Miami Heat move right there. Battle on our Raptors this past year. That's right. Peter's saying, if you're dropping the trophy off, let me know so we can chill for a bit. You know what? I love that, Peter. You know what? I will. I'll give you advance notice. Your number's still the same one, right? You obviously got my message. So what I'll do is I'll let you know maybe the day before and see what time works for you. And maybe I will. Maybe I'll come up and see how you guys are doing and visit with you guys for a sec. I would love that. I would love that. And I don't know when I'm going to get down there anytime soon, though. I should get down there soon, though. I don't come downtown very often at all at this point. I think I've been downtown like twice in the last 3 months, really. I mean, I'll go out to Scarborough to see Adriana, but I don't ever get right downtown. But I do want to make a trip down to see you and get you your trophy because you deserve it, man. You need that trophy, man. You put in the work. And you're a badass. I know that Peter does the fantasy different than a lot of y'all. He really gets into the numbers, and he really understands trends, and he gets in there. Like Peter knows fantasy. Like he knows how to play fantasy basketball. I mean, seriously, some of the talks I've had with Peter about our fantasy league when I've been around him in the last couple of years, he's on a whole other level of analysis. Let's just put it that way, guys. This is the reason why. I mean, and him against David, that really is kind of the big matchup because David is the same way. And I know that when they played each other in the semifinals, that was a very intense matchup. Like, because they're around each other and there probably was a lot of talking about it. And once again, this is 2 years straight that Peter's beaten David because he's won both years. And I think last year, did you beat him in the finals? You beat him in the finals last year. It's pretty crazy. Stargate saying, what kind of coaching acumen does JJ Redick have to justify that job? Please tell me how long has he been an assistant anywhere? Has he ever even coached at least a Division I NCAA team? No, none of that. I don't think so. He went straight from being a player to a podcaster to being a coach. And that's like, that slaps things in the face right there. Listen, y'all want to talk about DEI is wrong and shit like that. Well, what is this, man? You could have a guy like Adrian Griffin that coached as an assistant coach for 15 years, finally got the call, finally went through the hard ranks as a former player, as a player of kind of the same caliber as JJ Redick in his playing career. It's like, seriously, he went through the trenches and was an assistant coach on so many different teams, including the Raptors, finally got his job, and then that bullshit happened in Milwaukee. Meanwhile, It's like JJ Redick's like that kid at the Canada's Wonderland that just runs to the front of the line and just jumps in the front of the line and ahead of everybody to get on the Great Canadian Mind Buster. And you're like, what the hell? Why is that kid running in front of us? Dude, you got to get wait in line. It's like, no, my mom's up here. She's up here. And he just runs right up, gets right in front of the line, gets right on the car. That's what happened with JJ Redick, Steve Nash. There's something fishy and fucked up about that. When certain NBA players that played in the league don't have to go through the assistant coach's ranks to get a head coaching job, but some do. I don't want to be so superficial and just say it has something to do with the color of their skin, but in some ways, it smacks of this shit. I mean, seriously. Stargate saying, you were trying to tell me that JJ Redick is a better coach than Darko? How way? What way? Maybe from visibility and casualness, being like, oh, I know who he is. He's the Lakers coach. So because I know him, he must be a better coach. That's half of it right there. Darko is not a flashy name that's a household name. He's not a best friends with LeBron and doing a podcast. He's not a guy who played in the NBA and had his face in the NBA for years. There's all kinds of dumb reasons why, the athletic, like even the athletics player poll is showing that, JJ's a good coach or something like that. I don't get that, man. I don't get that. That's why I didn't put a lot of stock into the athletics player poll. But yeah, Darko is a fantastic coach. We can see the evidence because we see the nuts and bolts because we look at the game like Peter Saborn looks at fantasy basketball. We're in there under the hood in the nuts and bolts in the middle of it. And we see what Darko's doing with our team and building up our foundation and our program to be a better team, competing better and better in the playoffs in the years to come. And JJ Redick and the Lakers, they want to do fast fixes. They want to do quick stuff to get quick there. That's not going to last. And that won't have any substance to have any wheels to go anywhere in the playoffs. And that's what's being evidenced right now. That's what I'm saying. You got to build things right to have the legs to get to a championship. And in some ways, doing shortcuts by getting a Slovenian guy named Luka Doncic, that's not going to just add up to a championship Lakers nation. I'm sorry. You jabronis. You jabronis. That's right. Trevor J saying some of the Raptors fans are always ready to work at a UPS shipping and receiving with players on this team. Yeah. I don't get it, man. I get it. Off season's long. It's boring. In some ways, it'll be a grind on this channel. But also at the same time, this doesn't mean we have to come up with stupid, foolish trade rumors every day, Raptors Digest, and just make all our content about what if we got Giannis? What if we got this person? What if we got this person? Once again, the way that Bobby has built this team is got a new starting five that's going to debut next year. We have not even seen it. So forget about all this. Y'all, we shot our shot on this, Brandon Ingram. And so why don't you make more videos, Raptors Digest, about how you envision Brandon Ingram fitting into our offense and playing alongside RJ Barrett, Scotty Barnes, and Emmanuel Quickley? That sounds like good content to me. But no, to get people more involved, you got to talk about Giannis coming to Toronto again all of a sudden this summer because the Bucks suck. Giannis is upset, and Masai is his best friend. So obviously, Raptors fans, you should just 1 + 1 = 2. Yeah, he's going to be on our team, obviously. What if it doesn't make sense? What if Bobby Webster says, I don't want Giannis. I can't fit him into our cap without absolutely gutting our team. And we won't have a team like this. This is the fallacy of what I'm talking about. Lakers fans want Luka so bad, you gut your team. You ain't got no wheels to get any far in the playoffs. And some is we've got a good all-around team, and we're fitting guys in, and some of them are high level. And I would say this, Brandon Ingram fit in already, and his talent level and his ability to recapture his all-star play and being a top player in this league is going to help us way better than going and selling the farm to get Giannis Antetokounmpo to come in here and maybe do just a little bit better. Just a little bit better on defense than Brandon Ingram probably. Not much difference otherwise. So why would you want to upset what we've got going in the nucleus and the thing that Bobby's built already just to go for the really shiny thing that's outside the window and say, ooh, we'll get that. Yeah, but what are you sacrificing? What are you losing at the end of your rotation to put Giannis on there that you built it in with Brandon? Brandon can have Jakob and Chris and this person and that person around behind him. But if you bring in Giannis and then you get Cooper Flag too, oh my gosh, what are you going to do with your salary cap? How are you going to have a full fleshed out team with that much talent at the top? That's what I warned Raptors fans about with their trade talk this summer is, look, Bobby Webster lives on the moon. Y'all don't. He understands building an NBA team better than any of y'all. He knows his job better than y'all. Y'all can't fucking tell me anything you're going to say is better than what Bobby Webster's already doing. So let the man do his damn job, is what I tell Raptors fans. Y'all can have all your crazy trade rumors and Giannis this, Giannis that. Go ahead. It's fun. I'm ignoring you. And I know that Bobby is too. The ship has sailed on Giannis Antetokounmpo being on the Raptors. That shit should have happened around 2020, but that didn't happen. So be it. He got a championship in Milwaukee, and well, we lost Serge and Mark for no reason. And well, in some ways, we don't need Giannis because we have Shamshe. I'll say that also. I'll say that also on top of that. That's right. That's right. Wayne's saying Lakers Nuggets have no bench, so it's not the coach's fault. Knicks too. OKC is kind of boring. My interest is in the politics of the finals, not really the games themselves. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, you could say that it's not the coach's fault, Wayne. Then you blame the GM because they didn't build a complete team that the coach could get far enough. So you could say that. In some ways, you should blame the GM of the Mavericks along with Rob Pelinka for that convoluted ass crazy Luka Doncic trade this year. You know, in some ways, it's like, yeah, you could blame Rob Pelinka for the Lakers losing right now because if they had Anthony Davis, they'd be winning this series probably. That's the one thing that maybe Lakers Nation doesn't want to admit is if you didn't make the Luka trade, you might be winning this series against Minnesota right now. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Don't go for the flashy object just because you think it's just going to do this and do that for you. No, 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 no. Don't be like that. You've got to understand what winning is. And sometimes it's not the flashiest, best absolute players coming to your team. It's about having 5 guys that are pretty good instead of having 2 guys that are very, very good and nobody that's good. You know, shit like that right there. Right there. Fiercely saying just got out of a meeting. Kyle Kuzma missed 3 straight layups. Was embarrassing. Yeah, I saw a stat this morning that's saying that Kyle Kuzma is shooting 28% on layups in this series against the Pacers. He's shooting 28% on layups. You did Chris Middleton like that for that? That's crazy. Classic card coming up real fast. But you know what? Let's do something real quick, y'all. The straight goods on Canadian goods. And you know what? I should probably put these in the freezer right now. They've been sitting next to me for about an hour, 2 hours, and they're thawing. And it's McCain, y'all. McCain is a great Canadian company. And if you want French fries, you can get these super spirals from McCain. McCain's a very interesting company. He started in New Brunswick, guys. They've had 68 experience delivering great tasting food that they drive growth to for future generations. The McCain brothers, Wallace, Harris, Robert, and Andrew, are out of New Brunswick, Florenceville, New Brunswick, and they started making these fries. And you know what? These guys did so good with the fries that this company is global, and McCain gets sold all over the United States and other countries too. So this is a Canadian product, people in the States. If you're buying McCain in the States in your frozen food section, this is a way to support Canada in the trade war. Because McCain is global, big time, baby. One of the biggest food producers. In some ways, I don't like them for being a corporation, but I do like them for being a Canadian-based, Canadian-owned corporation. So buy McCain. It's clearly Canadian. It's very Canadian. And McCain French fries are great when you fry them up. I'm going to go put this in the freezer because they're thawing real bad. And I got a little bit of puddle on this chair next to me. So give me just a second. I'll be right back. There's your straight goods, Canadian goods, real quick there. Yeah, McCain potatoes and French fries. There you go. That's a good company right there. Smooth saying the Leafs drew the easiest first round matchup. We'll see what happens in the second round. Well, they won the first, the easiest matchup because they had the best record, right? They were the number 1 seed. So they got the worst team in the first round, which was Ottawa, which makes sense. That makes sense. Fiercely saying, I actually think players drown once they go play for the Lakers. Hashimura and Vincent were essential on their previous teams. Now they help out LeBron and Luka. Yeah, it's like a weird thing where there's sacrifices. Like every player that's kind of been around LeBron on the Lakers has been sacrificed. And in some ways, they sacrifice personal things for their own careers, being around there. Gabe Vincent was such a good player for Miami. And he went there in free agency a couple years ago, and he's just disappeared. It's almost like he's on a missing poster or something like that. Hashimura, he's had some success with the Lakers, but yeah, he had a different path and trajectory that he was going on when he was on the Wizards. That he had a certain level of growth he'd been growing into if he had been on the Wizards still right now that he's not getting to while he's on the Lakers. This is so true, Fiercey. So true. I'm going to give you a dunk because you're just speaking the truth right here. That this is a real problem. This is a real problem. If you're a player in the NBA, you may not want to play for the Lakers, honestly, because this pattern has been very evident for a while. 36 on the dunk points chart now, Fiercey Salsera. Yeah. Let's see. Wayne saying Detroit versus the Knicks. Detroit got robbed by that no call in the final seconds. The referee report confirmed as usual, and that it was a foul and it should have been called. Really now. Yeah, it's infuriating. It's like the perfect heist. I'm going to steal this game from you for the Knicks. The NBA is. And you know what? You're not going to be able to do a damn thing about it because there's no recourse for changing the outcome of a game after, even if the refs completely admit that they screwed up. Some people are saying the refs need to be fined for that. No, they're not going to be fined. They're doing exactly what the company wanted them to do. So, I mean, seriously, there's no punishment. There's just live and learn. And learn the lesson. This is a lesson that Raptors fans have known for many years of the playoffs in 2010s. And what I was talking about earlier is you have to have a 10-point cushion going in the game because you don't want the refs to manipulate the game in favor of the other team and give the game to the other team. That's why you have to be that much better. You have to kick so much ass that you have a good enough lead that the refs can't manipulate that game into the hands of the other team. And that's part of the reason why the Raptors won the championship in 2019, because we've had to have that mentality for a while that we are at a discount. We're at a disadvantage, so we have to be that much better. That's what I'm saying. In this world today, there's people that have privilege and there's people that do not. And the people that have privilege are people like the Knicks and the Celtics and the Lakers, their teams. And then there's teams that do not have privilege, like the Kings, the Bulls, and the Raptors, and they will get shat on. And that's just how it is for individuals in life too. Certain people have a path into an Ivy League school and everything paid for and just a cushy job all laid out for them because of who they are and who their parents were and they're rich and all this stuff. And then some people will not have any of that in front of them. And that's what privilege is. And we can see it in the NBA with the teams. There's privileged teams like the Knicks, and then there's teams that are not privileged in this league, like the Pistons. And that's it right there. That's right. Stargate saying, for starters, the refs should start calling traveling and carrying when players commit them. Luka carries the ball literally every single trip down the floor. It's madness. Yeah, and it's crazy because old head fans and old head players, even old vets that used to watch this league, Rick Barry coming out of the woodworks, the father of Brent Barry, old longtime Golden State Warrior legend, won the championship in 75 with the Golden State Warriors, old-time Oakland Oak of the ABA. Rick Barry is just came out on a tirade in recent weeks about how the traveling is so out of control in the NBA right now that he can't watch the league because they just let them get away with so much stuff that they never let them get away with back in the day. That they really have let go of some of the rules on this. They really have. It is madness. And the old heads see it and they're crying foul. Fiercey's giving a big cup to Peter Saborn. You know what? We're going to give Peter a dunk for showing up and saying hi today. Man, I love you guys. I just want you guys to be around. It's just annoying. You know, in some ways, I know you guys are busy guys. You have a lot going on. So Peter's getting his first dunk of the year. Peter, you're at 3 on the dunk chart right there. Yeah. I mean, this is amazing. Peter's here today. I love it. W Stream, fam. Thank you, Fiercey. And she's giving me a cutoff since Monique's not here. I'm right at 2 hours, so I'm going to be done in a second. Stargate saying it's this new young modern fan. They grew up in the age of NBA 2K and Yahoo Fantasy Leagues. They view the real game like those things. Just trade everyone anytime to anywhere for any reason. No rhyme or reason to it. Yeah. And they don't understand. You know, in some ways, it's kind of like basing your gardening on playing Farmville. It's like, oh, I'm a good gardener. I played Farmville on my computer for like 5 years. And I know how to plant this, and it takes this long to plant strawberries and this and this. And yeah, I'm going to do this in my yard. So I'm going to move the plots every which way. Does that really work? Where you move the plots, where you plant stuff? Oh, no, I don't like these over here, these potatoes. I'm going to dig them all up and put them over here and move them and put them in here because that's what you could do in Farmville. You can move things easy and they just move and there's no willy-nilliness. And that's the same damn thing with a video game or a fantasy team. You can move stuff. And there's no repercussions in the real world because it's fantasy. It's not real. But fans are confused. They think that this is the way it could be in the NBA. No, you rip out those potatoes, you move them somewhere else, and you're indecisive. Well, that rips out the potatoes and ruins them. And it's the same damn thing in the NBA in real life. So yeah, stop running your team. Thinking your team should be run like you run your 2K team. You're idiots that you think like that. That's right. Stargate, man, they're idiots. Why are they doing that? That's right. Fiercely saying McCain fries are fire. That's right. Real Canadian fries, Canadian company, McCain. That's right. Straight goods on Canadian goods. That's right. Peter's saying largest fry producer in the world and in Canada. Boom goes the dynamite. That's right. That's right. They trying to say down the States, they don't do anything better than us up in Canada. Well, we do healthcare better than y'all. We do still, and I'd like to keep it that way. And that's why I'd like to keep free healthcare right now on this election day. So hopefully people will vote smart and vote for the CBC and our healthcare system. We do healthcare better than y'all, and we do French fries better than y'all down there. And it makes sense. We speak French up here also. So we're bilingual. Of course, we're going to do French fries better than y'all down in the States. McCain French fries are better than y'all's French fries. That's just the damn truth. Thank you. That's right, Peter. That's right. Canadian pride and French fries and McCain. Fiercely saying tastes better in the air fryer than the oven. Ooh, that's a good idea. You know what? I might have to do that with that bag I just had here. I've got a real dandy of an air fryer. I made some great chicken wings on Saturday when Adriana came over and surprised me during the middle of the stream. And well, we air fried some wings. Maybe I'll air fry these fries. I might have to do this today because you made me hungry for them now, Fiercely. This might be my lunch. Is my thawed out French fries that we've been sitting here next to me, man. Stargate saying McCain is international. When go down to visit my sister in Savannah, I let them know it's Canadian. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's a good success story. And that's what I'm saying. If we've got certain Canadian companies up here, they're Canadian based, Canadian origin, Canadian workers, Canadian industry, and they go global and they are taking over the whole market. Like Peter says, we're the number one French fry company, McCain. We should be proud of that. That's right. That's right. Buy Canadian. That's right. Buy McCain. That's what we're talking about today. That's right. That's right. Peter's saying in 2 of their 3 wins have been in overtime. You're talking about the Leafs. Man, yeah. Yikes. Are you talking about the Leafs? Or is that who you're talking about? I think it's talking about the Leafs. Stargate saying the Lakers, the Heat, and the Suns just need to blow it up and go into full rebuilds. Bucks may have to as well. I would give the Nuggets one more chance. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the Nuggets either. I would agree with all that. All those teams, every single one of them. In some ways, the Raptors started their rebuild already, and we're on our way. And these teams will be behind us after this, hopefully, because Lakers going to be in a rebuild no matter what because of LeBron and him leaving at some point. They're going to be in a rebuild no matter what. I'm going to download. They're already in the rebuild. They've been kind of rebuilding with LeBron lingering around, messing up the rebuild is kind of what's been happening the last few years for them. It's the way I look at it. Trevor's saying when you go to play for the Lakers, but also a barrier to your career. Yeah. I don't think it's smart or wise. In some ways, the prestige of going there. Okay, if you have a dream like DeMar DeRozan to play for the Lakers and you want to go play for the Lakers, that makes sense. But they don't even want DeMar, even though he wanted to come there and play for them. Assholes. They should have wanted DeMar instead of Russell. They screwed up on that one. I wanted to see DeMar DeRozan play for the Lakers because that's a childhood dream for him. But he's got to settle for the Kings in fucking Sacramento. What is that bullshit? What is that bullshit? The Lakers, in some ways, them not wanting DeMar, it shows that, like, you know what? DeMar's too steady and good for them. In fact, he might help their team too much. He might be too non-toxic. They're just like, oh, crap, we can't have DeMar on our team. He might make our team actually better. That's the way I feel about it right there. Because DeMar is kind of like that with leadership and the way he handles himself. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Kaloy saying we may see some drastic trades this offseason. Not with the Raptors, though. No, I don't want to see no drastic trades with us. We've done our big move for the year. It's Brandon. We got to see Ingram healthy on the team with this team and discover what we are right now currently before we make any more major moves. Because in some ways, the wrong move is sometimes the extra move you made that you didn't need to make and that it was not necessary. And Mikal Bridges is that to me with the Knicks. That was not a necessary move. And they got rid of some things for their future that they shouldn't have because of Mikal Bridges and just trying to get that all together. That was stupid. Really, really stupid. Let's see. Trevor's saying Toronto is third North American city with 100 skyscrapers with New York and Chicago. Yeah, we caught up on that. in last years. I mean, we've had the most cranes downtown building skyscrapers over the last 10 years. And yeah, they've really built the skyline of Toronto different in the last 15 years. It's totally different than what it used to look like around 2010. So many more condo buildings down there. So many more. Yeah, I'm not surprised by this that we're there. And Wayne's saying, let's go, liberals. Canada has the potential to be the vanguard of more equitable world order. Well, the United States is going to go all Nazi Germany with Mein Führer Trump and his wannabe kingdom and his bullshit. Well, in some ways, there's going to be a place that's open for being a world leader. And Carney and Canada is poised to be that. Seriously, they're looking for leadership in Europe. They're looking for leadership in Australia and other parts of the world, Africa and Asia. They want a good leader for the world. And U.S. was that person for the longest time, but they are not anymore. People don't trust them. The relationships with the U.S. and their allies have gone downhill in just 3 months. It's really sad. Their best ally at this point is Putin and Russia and El Salvador. Where the fuck are y'all at, United States? The people of the United States are being held hostage by this shit, and they hate it, and they're fighting against it. I know that the Americans overall are sensible, very smart, intelligent, caring, nice people, but there's a very ugly contingency that has assumed power and probably in illegal ways also. I'm not going to say that election last year was totally right, because I don't put it past Elon Musk not just buying the media and getting them to declare that Trump won before the election was actually over, and them just strong arming it, like grab him by the pussy, grab this election by the pussy and just take it. I don't really think he actually won, seriously. And I don't want to be coupled in with them and saying, oh, the election was stolen. I think there's a real argument that what I'm saying could actually be very true. Because honestly, the groundswell of support for Kamala was very strong, like Biden, but they couldn't afford for that to happen because they knew that if Trump lost again, he's absolutely in the water and done. He's done. There's nothing for him. And they had to make sure he won. So why wouldn't Elon spend a couple extra $1 billion to pay off the media and make it seem like he won for sure? I don't believe he won. And I feel like the support for MAGA is actually a lot less than people actually realize. They've made a very good front to make it seem like they're very popular, but I don't think it's true. And I think Bernie Sanders and AOC touring the country right now and getting huge crowds in rural Republican areas of the United States is evidence that this MAGA shit is not as popular as everybody's saying or thinking it is. And that's why resisting is important, and also not bowing to tyranny. If they're telling you to leave your job because you're a federal worker, don't. If they're telling you to do this, don't. Resist. And that's what I'm saying. Today is very important. Today is very, very important. I hope that we hear some good news today about this election. Now, I don't want to see no Canadian election get grabbed by the pussy either, because seriously, that would be messed up. And don't get it twisted. The Canadian media is all kind of ways tainted by American corporatism and forces trying to tell us what we should think. So think for yourselves, Canadians, when you go to the ballot box today, and make a vote that's for us, our country. It's not about sides. In some ways, there is a very, very evil part of this world right now that is right wing, that wants to be in misogynist places, racist places, places of discrimination, places of making lives harder for people, not helping them out, not helping them with healthcare, not helping them with education, not helping them with social services, putting you out on your own and having the hoard all the profits and all the money at the top for the 1%. And well, it's very evident to me. It's either you're for the people or you're for the money. And if you want to be for the money, you're probably for the hate too. And I don't want to choose hate. I don't want to choose money. I want to choose the people. I want to choose services. I want to choose the ability for everyday person like Kaz and his wife to have a house and be able to live their life. You know, people like landlords don't need extra houses and cars. People need houses in Canada. And in some ways, we need real solutions, not rhetoric and angry yelling and hateful talk against immigrants and trans people. We need real solutions for housing. We need real solutions for our economy. We need real solutions for how we're going to deal with this fuckface in the White House. Not a bunch of bullshit about, oh, the trans are doing this, or liberals. Fuck the liberals. I hate them. No, we don't need hate. We need love. We need to come together. And I think sensible conservatives, past conservatives, real conservatives, not MAGA maples, are with us also and can see this themselves, that they value Canada staying Canada. And this is probably the most important. Don't give me this bullshit that you're going to talk about Justin and his mandates as the most important subject for this election. No, it's not. It's about preserving our country and staying truly Canadian. Just like that man did that Molson Canadian commercial a long time ago. I am Canadian. Well, what are you doing today? Go to the ballot box and be Canadian and vote for our country. And I'm not going to tell you exactly who to vote for. I've made it very clear who I'm against and who you should not vote for sure, because they are the poorest choice. They are the people that echo all of the same statements and tactics as Donald Trump, talking over people in the debate, not letting people answer, not answering anything substantive about his platform other than I'm hateful person. I'm just going to talk out of my ass. I'm going to come and take all the homeless people in the park and throw them in jail. I'm going to get rid of the CBC because it's the last vestige of pure Canadian media. I'm going to get rid of your health care so I can enrich my buddies behind the scenes by making you pay for your health care in Canada, taking away free health care. I think the choice is obvious here, Canadians. And that if you're blinded by hate and hateful rhetoric from right-wing propaganda media sources, well, you've been duped, you're soft-headed, and you need to work on your critical thinking skills, is what I would say to those people right now. So please, please make the right decision today if you haven't voted yet today. That's right. That's right. Stargate's saying the funny thing is that both LeBron and Luka both may need to go for that rebuild. Same with Miami to do an adequate rebuild. May need to get rid of both Bam and Hero. Suns can afford to keep Booker. Yeah, because I think Booker's young enough to do this. And I would say that they could probably keep Hero in Miami in a rebuild, but Bam probably would have to go. Yeah. I don't know. Luka probably would be the center of the rebuild for the Lakers. That's the whole reason why they landed him. If they have their way, Luka Doncic will retire as a Laker going forward. I'm pretty sure they want that. I'm pretty sure that is what they want in their cards. All right, let me see. Speaking of cards, let's go ahead and do the classic card. First person to write in the full name answer will get the classic card points. I'm going to say Slug Deezy, you have been on a rocket. You have rocketed up to third place on the Raptor Freak trivia standings behind Fiercey and Smooth, passing Kareem and Isaac and so many other people. So Slug Deezy, you have a chance if you keep going on this trajectory. It's going to be tough. Reggie's got a really good lead, but you are up there, man. And I'm very proud of the work you've done. And other people too, like Nins. Nins showed up very recently. And Nins has been cleaning up on the trivia also. We will do trivia tomorrow. So please show up tomorrow, 9:30 a.m., Raptor Freak Tuesday trivia, and get more points tomorrow. Here we go. Here's the player card of the day. Oh, what are you doing, Lex? You just showed it with – I thought the name was at the bottom. So stupid. We'll get rid of that one. That was dumb, man. That's pretty funny. You just did that. That's so dumb, man. All right, where's the one I want then? Let me get a different one. I don't want that card. That's so funny. I just did that. No, that's too easy. That's too easy. Why is there like 5 of this card in here? There's like 5 Clyde Drexlers in here. This is all just Clyde Drexler. Clyde Drexler. That's crazy. We won't do that either. That's too easy. Come on. Where's a good card for me to do? Nah, I think I've already done that card. I feel like some of these are duplicate cards, and I'm going to have to get them out of here because there's too many of them. All right, we'll do this one. This is a good one. All right, guys. Classic card of the day. First person to name the classic card of the day gets the classic card points. So let's see who knows who this classic card of the day is. So we see in the back the new president of operations of New Orleans is in the back of the card there. And it looks like our man from Jamaica is the guy who's the center for New York there. You know who I'm talking about. Buddy who's from Georgetown. That big man. Yeah, you guys know that. Oh, wait, look, Stargate's already got it. Yeah, that is John Sally, original Raptor. John Sally, while he was still on the Pistons with Joe Dumars. Yeah, that's a John Sally card. Wow, good job, Stargate. You knew it from the goggles. Of course, Spider Sally was wearing the goggles for a while. Look at the picture on the back. Look at that. Like, he's doing like some crazy splits right there. That's crazy, man. Yeah, Stargate, very impressive. Getting John Sally right off the bat. Former Raptor, original Raptor, John Sally. Let's see. How how many points should I give him? I'll give him 100 for this one. It's he's not totally um he's not totally a well-known player. He's some sort of like role player of some sort. All right, let's do the wrap up. I'm gonna go through my tabs really quick. Once again, the referees for tonight: Cleveland at Miami, James Williams, Kevin Scott, JB DeRosa. All three of them favor the Miami Heat today, guys. In the other game, Houston at Golden State, Game 4. John Goble favors the Golden State Warriors. Bill Kennedy and Pat Frere favor the Houston Rockets. Y'all buy McCain. It's a fantastic Canadian company. You can buy McCain. You're supporting Canadian industry, and that's what we're trying to do these days. Toronto Tempo is all about getting you out to vote, guys. So make sure you vote. Make sure you vote. Today's the day. You've read up. You've asked the questions. You've done the work. Now it's time to show up and make it count. Your vote is your power. Use it. We'll see you at the polls. That's directly from the Toronto Tempo right there. Directly from them on that. That's right. I love that. Let's see. Toronto Raptors Reddit community. What's going on with you guys today? Let's see if you got any out of pocket stuff. They're saying, "Come get your boy, Masai," and they're talking about Giannis. They really do want Raptors Reddit the Raptors to make a run at Giannis. Let's see. Somebody saw in here saying, "Hey, all Raptors fans from Germany here. Just curious to see how international our fan base is. Have not found a similar post except the 3 years old one." And I guess people are answering it and saying, Brazilian fan, English fan. So yeah, we got people around the world. We know we've got a very good international fan base for the Toronto Raptors. That's right. Playoffs have been great so far, but it ain't the same without the Raptors. Yeah, I could get behind that. I'd like to see that. There is a dumb post right here. It's a shit post saying tank fans to compete fans after watching teams twice as good as the Raptors get humbled in the first round. First of all, how do you know these teams are twice as good as the Raptors? Where's your quantifiable measure for that, Tank Nation? You can't give me this bullshit. Listen, the outcome of the season is what it is. I have no qualms about how I stood on things with Monique, the superfan Lawrence, about anti-tank stuff. And I would do it the same damn way also. Not just because these teams got eliminated doesn't mean Tank Nation's right about anything this year. Don't give me this bullshit. This is a false equivalency bullshit. Listen, we're a good team. You don't know how good we are until Brandon Ingram plays. So shut the fuck up, Tank Nation. I'll still say that right now. They're saying the Raptors face a unique problem in evaluating Duke's Malawatch due to visa policy. Yeah, we'll have to see what that's all about. We'll have to see what that is all about. Happy birthday to former Raptors assistant coach Brendan Surr. He was actually assistant coach for the Raptors the very first year we had our team under Brendan Malone. The two Brendans were the famous coaches for the Raptors and the Pistons. Pistons bad boys, assistant coaches under Chuck Daly, Brendan Malone, Brendan Surr. So happy birthday to Brendan Surr, who is 74 today. 74th birthday. And happy birthday to former Raptor player Martin Lewis. Martin Lewis is turning 50 today. Martin Lewis played for the Raptors in 1995 to 97. And he did not play a whole lot for us, but he was an end-of-bench guy at the end of our bench, like around that time in 96, 97. Let's see. What else do I have here? That's about it, y'all. I have a goofy episode of the Kensington VIP Club episode where I'm singing karaoke very badly on there. But yeah, once again, get out there and vote. That's what we're talking about right there. Yeah, that's right. Stargate saw Joe Dumars in the background. That's right. That's right. Trevor saying, I did not know that company was Canadian. I ordered that product all the time. Yeah, McCain, that brand is Canadian. That name brand is Canadian. So if you're in American grocery stores and you see McCain, you're buying from a Canadian company right there. Yeah. Fiercely saying our French Raptors page on IG is very popular. Targets the market in France, it seems, not Quebec, so more followers. Yeah, I've seen that French Instagram account, and they're pretty good. I like some of the stuff. They did some weird video game graphics one time. But yeah, it's all good and international. The Raptors have an international fan base, and the Toronto Tempo are about to enjoy that also and bring in international eyes to the WNBA. That's going to be very helpful for the league overall. I'm going to say that right now. Toronto Tempo may be the catalyst for the WNBA getting more globally visible. And that is really, really good. That is the whole point of why we're doing it in some ways. Stargate saying Malawatch can get Canadian citizenship within 8 months. Problem solved. Boom goes the dynamite. Yeah. I mean, maybe Adam Silver in the NBA to avoid problems, maybe like, yeah, well, maybe we should put him on the Raptors and he should go to the Raptors somehow, some way. Either way, man, we're just hopefully dumb stuff like this will get cleared up and it's not an issue. is what I would say. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, join the channel. If you like, you get access to our Discord server where it's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in there. Lots of great discussions, basketball wise, and other topics too in there. Of course, today is the federal election in Canada, and I implore every Canadian, wherever you are, to go and vote today. It's important. We're a democracy and we want freedom. We want the right to show that we have power over our government and what gets decided. In some ways, there's people out there that do not want that. They want to make it more a dictatorship, making decisions like Ontario Place without consulting the people, making decisions about, different things without consulting the people, about taking healthcare away and stuff like that. That's never right. Taking away money for education. No, we don't want to be run like a king, like an oligarchy, like a dictatorship. So voting is the exercise of democracy. And that's why it's so important that everybody goes and votes today. All right. Thanks for watching me today. Come back tomorrow for a Raptor Freak Tuesday trivia, 9:30 a.m. I'll have the questions ready for you guys. And I hope you'll be ready to answer them. Some of these questions have been hard recently, and some of y'all have struggled with them. So come with your A game, because I'm bringing my A game with writing the questions. Let's go Raptors and let's go Canada. I'm proud to be a Canadian. I've been a Canadian my whole entire life, born in Toronto, but raised in the United States. And trust me, I understand both countries very, very well. And I like the differences between Canada and the United States. That's why I choose to live in Canada as a dual citizen that could live in the United States or Canada. I choose to live on this side of the border. There's a reason. It's because I love this country. I've always been a very, very proud, patriotic Canadian because I had to be. I was around a bunch of little Trumpers and Americans when I was a kid that were very patriotic for their country. And they made me know that I was different. So I have a different kind of level of patriotism for this country than the average Canadian because I grew up in Florida and I was the Canadian kid in American classrooms. And I was made to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States. I did not say it. And I put my fingers crossed behind my back so let's just say this has been a lifetime of me picking Canada over the United States. So let's pick Canada over the United States once again today, please, for the sake of our country. Let's not get all petty with bullshit, and let's keep our focus on what's important. That's what I have to say right there. All right, let's go Raptors. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Canada.